This is Atomic Shinobi, and today I'm going to narrate the second part of What If Kid Naruto Was an Evil Genius Shinobi. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, wasting no more time, let's start the story.
T. Thank you, shit stain. Releasing her right hand to the left side of her neck, Tayuya spoke in a tone that was surprisingly quiet. She appeared more exposed than Naruto had ever thought possible, though to be fair, ever only referred to the 45 minutes he had actually known her. Tayuya was in disbelief that for all this time, there had been a creepy fragment of Orochimaru's soul inside her. It was one thing to have Jugo's DNA inserted into her, but it was quite another to hold Orochimaru's soul. Naruto telling her about it made her very happy, and it made her even happier that he took the damn thing out of her. She was so happy at the moment that she couldn't recall ever being happier, and she was eager to have a family of her own, a true family. She hoped that this would not be like her experience with the Sound 5. When the team was formed, Orochimaru had told them that they were a family from that day on, but it wasn't anything like she had imagined. Kimimaro was a terrible role model who seemed to be one bad mood away from destroying the lot of them. The others simply cared about themselves, and they would have been happy to stab her in the back to increase their authority or elevate their status in Orochimaru's eyes. It was nothing like the family life she had imagined, and because of this, she had shut down that aspect of herself entirely in her desperation. But the red-eyed bitch and the shit stain had brought back memories of a side of herself she had thought she had put to rest. Maybe it was because they claimed to be her biological relatives. Maybe she sensed it too, which is why she betrayed the Sound so readily and willingly and sided with them. Maybe it was because they were like kindred spirits to her, lonely people who had to endure the agony of being alone and an outsider. Whatever the cause, whatever the emotion, Tayuya was certain that this was the happiest she had ever felt in her life and that it felt perfect. She wanted to cling to this feeling for as long as it lasted, even if it turned out to be a lie or if this was just someone else trying to take advantage of her. It was my pleasure, Tayuya-chan. With a sincere smile, Naruto said, making Tayuya's cheeks flushed in response to his use of the cute suffix. D. Don't see. Call me that US. Stupid shit S. Stain. Tayuya stumbled. Now that you're among my most valued individuals, I'm powerless to resist. In any event, there are more urgent matters that need to be discussed than family time, so we don't have enough time together at this time. With a serious expression on his face, Naruto spoke. What is it? With an expression and tone that matched, Tayuya spoke. You two are going to be sent to the Forest of Enlightenment, which is the home of the Chimera ants, my summoning species. To ease things over there, I'll send a re-enforced shadow clone with you. You're already an elite Jonin, Tayuya, and you're quite strong. To join the Bloodline, though, you will have to grow even more powerful, strong enough to face off against a person of your former master's caliber on your own. You mean capable of taking down the snake bastard? Do you honestly believe that's feasible? With skepticism, Tayuya inquired. She had witnessed Orochimaru's immense power. After all, he was one of the legendary Sannin, revered and regarded as a genius even by his fellow Sannin. His collection of forbidden jutsu was extensive, and he was an expert in many strong but rare techniques. Because of his scientific training and research, he was an even more formidable opponent because he was well versed in every aspect of chakra types and physiology. Even though Orochimaru was very strong, she had never once believed that she could defeat him through deafness, so hearing the blonde Uzumaki say something so harshly, as though anyone could do it, shocked her to no end. Yes, it is. You don't know what it truly means to be an Uzumaki, so you don't realize your full potential. But both the Chimera Ant Clan and I will give you excellent instruction and training. You are going to be among the most powerful beings on the planet when we are through with you. To think about is also what it means to be a part of the Bloodline. Naruto clarified. What it means to be a member of the Bloodline? Tayuya inquired with curiosity. You see, we don't just gather the corpses of Bloodline limit users for no reason. I confuse said corpses with another person using my jutsu, the Chimera no Jutsu, giving the other person all the abilities of the deceased Bloodline user. I can thus give you a Bloodline limit, to put it another way. But I don't assign Bloodline limits at random. Instead, I assess each person carefully to determine which Bloodline limit would be most appropriate for them. Hence the testing. Tayuya came to a conclusion as realization hit her. Naruto answered, exactly. I see. You're implying that having Uzumaki ancestry gives one power. Are there bloodline characteristics that give us strength? Tayuya inquired with curiosity. Exceptionally powerful chakra, extraordinarily sizable reserves of chakra, incredibly robust and resilient bodies, and unbelievable affinities for sealing and barrier jutsu, and yang release bloodline limit. Yang release is linked to a robust body and vitality, which in us also shows up as an abnormally long lifespan. The average death rate for an Uzumaki is more than twice that of a typical human. It can also directly apply to the practice of barrier arts, sealing arts, and ninjutsu, as well as manifest in extraordinary healing and regenerative powers. We also possess extraordinary chakra sensing abilities, which are attributed to yang release. It goes without saying that becoming a cage-level ninja means you have mastered forbidden jutsu and the Uzumaki bloodline limit. You are even more amazing as a member of the bloodline organization because I will unavoidably determine the appropriate bloodline limit to assign to you. Naruto went into great depth. I see. Now that I can see it clearly, what happens? If it's okay with you, I'd like to be the one to kill the snake bastard. With a sly grin, Tayuya said. Killing Orochimaru won't be our main priority, but if it becomes necessary, then I will let you have a go at it. In response, Naruto spoke. What? You can't mean business. He was just trying to kill you. How could murdering him not be the top priority? Karen let out an indignant cry, and because she had been so silent while he was preoccupied with Tayuya, Naruto almost forgot she was even there. Orochimaru intends to invade Konoha with the aid of his Otogakure no Sato and the assistance of Sanagakure no Sato, as Tayuya is undoubtedly aware. We both stand to gain from his attack moving forward. To make things easier for myself and the bloodline when I eventually defect from Konoha, I need Konoha to be destroyed or weakened. I might leave by the end of the Chunin exams, depending on how well the invasion goes. A strong Konoha will cause us inconveniences, a weak Konoha will worry about more pressing matters and be unable to provide us with enough personnel, and a destroyed Konoha will have no effect. Naruto gave a detailed explanation. I see. You are fundamentally a true shinobi. The desire for vengeance and other small-minded feelings are set aside in favor of reason and long-term planning. You have a lot of potential as a leader. Impressed by the blonde Uzumaki's intelligence and mental discipline, Tayuya remarked in amazement. His strength and ninjutsu skill also impressed her. Who wouldn't be after the vicious display of power Naruto had just displayed against the Sound 3? Tayuya was so impressed with the Rasen Chakra no Yoroi that she questioned whether even Kimimaro could have taken on the blonde Uzumaki, which was quite the feat given that Kimimaro was so instrumental in eliminating the case cage. Of course, she had witnessed firsthand just what a monster Kimimaro was. She recalled Jirobo unleashing his strongest punch on the blonde Uzumaki, causing their fists to collide in midair and creating a tremendous shockwave that destroyed everything in its path. Naruto, on the other hand, was not fazed by the impact. Jirobo, on the other hand, was not so fortunate, as his arm broke and rippled in 67 different places, leaving the mangled limb limp on his side. Not only was what had just happened terrifying and shocking, but Jirobo had strangely attempted to punch the blonde Jinchuriki with his other arm, as though he would magically achieve a different outcome this time. When Hirobo's other arm eventually became irreparably damaged, Tayuya nearly closed her eyes in sympathy. Fortunately, Naruto promptly killed Jirobo thereafter, keeping his promise to kill his prey without frivolity when he becomes serious. Tayuya detested Jirobo and the rest of the Sound 5 with a ferocity that belied their love or even like. But they were still her old allies, and she had numerous missions completed with them. She was sorry that Naruto spared them from too much suffering before killing them, even though it wasn't easy for her to watch them be destroyed and eliminated in that way. She was appreciative even though she wasn't sure if he had done it for her benefit. You give me too much praise, Yuya-chan, but thank you nonetheless. Naruto gave a modest reply. Bastard. Quit pronouncing my name in that manner. Tayuya cried out, feeling both offended and taken aback by the charming and loving way the blonde Uzumaki was addressing her. I already told you it was impossible for me to address you any other way as you are one of the people I hold most dear to my heart. Naruto shrugged his shoulders nonchalantly. Anyway, as bad as this is, it's time for us to separate. I will now call upon a chimera ant messenger to return you to the Forest of Enlightenment. You are about to enter a very beautiful, but also very harsh, environment, so beware. Miriam. Dono, the king of the chimera ants, will not put up with cowardice or ineptitude. You will emerge from it stronger than before, but it will be the most trying experience of your lives. Your suffering and anguish won't be in vain. Naruto spoke in a gloomy tone. W. When W. Will you pay us a visit? Fearfully, Karen inquired. Soon, I'd say, sometime after the Chunin exams, after the invasion to be more precise. In response, Naruto spoke. So like, roughly a month and a quarter from now, give or take. Tayuya inquired with curiosity. Since she had survived growing up as one of Orochimaru's pets, she wasn't nearly as scared as Karen was. She simply couldn't imagine anything worse than the horrors she had witnessed and experienced during her stay in Otogakure, nor could she imagine a more sadistic person serving as her mentor. She had to take Naruto seriously if he believed that this was a harsh and unforgiving place, and she might even have to watch out for Karen because there was no way in hell that a weak lil shit like her would survive a place like that on her own. Nevertheless, that didn't mean she wasn't concerned. After all, based on what she could tell, Naruto would probably mop the floor with her if they were to go to battle right now. Yes, give or take. As he performed the hand seal technique for the summoning jutsu, Naruto answered. Kachiyose no jutsu. It took a lot of effort on Naruto's part to contain his pity party when Sasuke and Sakura tried to conceal Orochimaru's cursed seal from him. He couldn't understand why they felt the need to keep it a secret from him at all. Was it because they felt good about having their own secret to keep from him after all the secrets he had? Was it, absurd as it may seem, that they didn't want to worry him? Was it Sasuke's pride that was hurt or the fact that he didn't want to appear weak to Sakura that caused him to insist that she not speak to him? Strangely enough, it appeared as though even Kakashi was aware of it. When Naruto tried to question him about it after he had taken Sasuke away and probably tried to remove the curse, Kakashi just assured him that everything was okay and that there was nothing to be concerned about. To be honest, I found it funny and sad that they were making such an effort to conceal something that didn't really matter to him, something that, ironically, was essentially an invention of Naruto. Naruto, however, was undoubtedly impressed by Sasuke's willpower after witnessing him use only his own willpower to stifle the curse when it attempted to self-activate. The only question was whether Naruto would assist Sasuke in using the powers of Orochimaru's cursed seal, or if he would leave it up to Orochimaru. He could already tell that Sasuke would eventually become very good at using these powers. Naruto would readily acknowledge, if forced to be honest with himself, that he had no idea what to do with Sasuke. More specifically, he had no idea whether or not to recruit him for the bloodline. To Naruto's knowledge, Sasuke appeared to be a person who could be painted any color, a so-called blank canvas. He might develop into the world's greatest evil, a force for good, or something in between, neutral and neither good nor bad. Naruto was generally a very good judge of character, but his personality was that of an uncharacteristic person, which is why he was having so much difficulty making a decision. Of course, there was also the practical matter that Sasuke would almost certainly end up with Orochimaru if Naruto didn't fix his seal and recruit him. Naruto didn't think it would be prudent to give Orochimaru access to the Uchiha bloodline, whether as an ally or as his new host. This was especially true considering that Orochimaru had just made an attempt to have him killed. In actuality, he had nothing to gain by permitting such a union to occur when he could have easily prevented it. No. I have to hold fast to my beliefs. It's not how I do things to recruit someone just to keep them from joining someone else. I seek out candidates who I can relate to, who we have common ground with, and who I can put my trust in. Sasuke shouldn't be recruited since he doesn't match the profile. I guess the only other option would be to kill him before he joins Orochimaru, but that would also go against my beliefs to kill someone who hasn't even taken a life yet and isn't a direct enemy. That's when, I suppose, my decision is made. Sasuke's future actions are entirely up to him. Besides, I'm trying to get rid of the Kyuubi in part so that Akatsuki doesn't cause me any trouble. Killing Sasuke would be counterproductive in that regard. There's no way Itachi could have accidentally left Sasuke alive. It's clear that he still loves him, or at the very least, has plans for him. Since Sasuke's primary objective in life is to kill Itachi, an Akatsuki member, I suppose that recruiting him would also be counterproductive in that regard, Naruto thought as realization set in. This is the right move, I must forget about Uchiha Sasuke. For the sake of the bloodline, and to avoid an unnecessary war with Akatsuki, I must let Sasuke go. If anything, this will serve my purpose just fine. By pursuing Sasuke, Orochimaru inevitably makes an enemy out of Itachi, and since I know Itachi already beat him once, then needless to say, Orochimaru will have his hands full. If he loses the war with Konoha, even better, both he and Konoha will be weakened, and I will be the last thing on his mind. The Bloodline and I will be able to move with relative freedom, and this will speed up our consolidation of power. You've been following me since the second phase of the exams ended. Come out now, Jiraiya. Sama. I know it's you. Naruto yelled. After the second part of the examinations, Jiraiya was one of the preliminary eliminators, and Naruto had to admit that he had been surprised to see her. All of the information he had about the man came from Orochimaru, the academy, his father and mother's journals, and, of course, what he had learned from Kabuto. Though it's not as though he had been looking for him, he had never seen him in person before and had no idea where he was. Jiraiya burst out of the woods, performing the most embarrassing dance Naruto had ever seen in his life. Oh ho 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 ho. I can't believe that I, the great Jiraiya Sama, the Toad Sage of MT Myoboku and the greatest spy master in the world, was discovered by a mere genin. Jiraiya exclaimed. You were paying a lot of attention to me during the preliminaries, too much attention. So when I realized that someone was following me, I knew it had to be you. Naruto stated with accuracy. Jiraiya spoke in a grave and menacing tone, completely different from the silly and non-threatening behavior he had shown less than a minute before. Oh, and how did you realize you were being followed in the first place? I don't mean to blow my own horn, but I followed people who went on to become leaders in cages without them knowing I was on their trail. Naruto, or rather, his shadow clone, said as it emerged from the woods, right behind Jiraiya, because I too was following you. Jiraiya had just come from the woods. Saying that Jiraiya was taken aback would be akin to saying that Orochimaru was unsettling, that is, a vast understatement. The fact that he hadn't realized Naruto's shadow clone was following him was evident from the slight stiffening of his shoulders, which most shinobi would not have noticed but which gave away the fact that he was shocked and had to muster all of his willpower to keep from jumping away in shock. Impossible. At what point did he? Jiraiya trailed off as his thoughts were abruptly interrupted by the sound of his potential apprentice's voice. While pursuing its prey, the predator is at its most vulnerable. All other distractions are lost, and the prey hunt is the only thing receiving attention. This is particularly valid for an apex predator like you. You are so respected and feared in the shinobi community that even the 5 Kage would hesitate to confront you. As a result, you shouldn't worry about anyone looking for you, especially a mere genin, because most people will do their best to avoid upsetting you. But I'm not most people, Naruto said in a tone that was a little patronizing. So this is how he is? I thought I understood everything when Sensei and Kakashi explained the situation to me, but witnessing and going through it firsthand like this makes me wonder if I really knew what I was getting myself into until this very moment. It makes sense then that Kakashi had so much trouble with him, Jiraiya cautiously thought. So, are you pursuing me? Jiraiya took a considerable amount of time to think before responding. I was speaking metaphorically. Don't take anything I say literally. To be honest, I don't really care about you at all. And yet you took the effort to track my every movement ever since we met. Jiraiya responded. Just because you showed such a strong curiosity about me. It seems that I was correct to monitor you, Naruto shot back. Jiraiya stammered as he attempted to formulate a strategy for handling the circumstance. Maybe he inherited his mother's chakra extinguishing ability, which allowed her to completely erase her presence even from a sensor-type ninja. That way, he could follow me without my noticing him. Come to think of it, both his parents were incredible chakra-sensing type ninja, so he must have inherited that too. After all, he is Minato, so I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised by his skill level, intelligence, and intuition. Minato was just an academy student when he tracked down Kushina and defeated 3 elite Kumo Jonin to save her. Jiraiya thought analytically. Finally, feeling that he had given Jiraiya enough time to recover from his shock, Naruto asked, "Are you just going to stand there and stare at me, or is there actually a reason for this meeting?" To Naruto's dismay, Jiraiya chose not to respond verbally but rather took off the enormous scroll he was carrying on his back and threw it in front of the blonde Uzumaki, where it landed with a loud thud. With an eyebrow raised, Naruto asked, "What exactly am I supposed to do with this?" "It's a summoning contract." Before Jiraiya could finish, Naruto interrupted, "I know what it is." Then, with a playful twinkle in his eyes, "What are you waiting for, an invitation?" Jiraiya questioned. "You're a spy master, so there is no way you came before me without gathering information first about me from Kakashi, Sensei and Sandaime Sama, which means that you already know that I have my own summoning contract already with the Chimera Ants." What makes you think I would forsake them for your frogs? Naruto was incredulous. I don't expect you to forsake them. I spoke to the elders of Mount Myoboku and they all agreed to make an exception this one time. They are willing to share you with the Chimera ants, and by the way, they're toads, not frogs. Jiraiya said. Defiantly, Naruto asked, and if I say no? Sarutobi. Sensei could not order the toads to accept you as their summoners. He also could not order me to take you in as my apprentice. However, once the toads agreed and I made my intentions clear regarding your apprenticeship to me, the choice went out of the window. For you. Jiraiya sighed. Is it really the old man's intention for me to acknowledge the toads as my summoners? There is nothing morally right about that, and it doesn't seem right. Furthermore, shouldn't he require permission from the Chimera ants as well, given that he required consent from the toads to disclose my affiliation with them? No way, could they possibly think that the Chimera ants are not your typical summoning clan and are instead made by me? Naruto considered things critically and cautiously. I'll have to get approval from the Chimera ants first, of course. It's not a decision I can make arbitrarily. Naruto then responded. Jiraiya stated in a firm and unyielding manner, you're not getting permission from anyone. You owe allegiance first to Konoha and Konoha alone. If the Chimera ants have a problem with Sarutobi Sensei's orders, then they can go and bag her off. Is he trying to see how devoted I am to the village with this? How fascinating. He is definitely more skilled at this game than Kakashi, but it's still manageable, Naruto thought to himself, trying desperately to hide the sly smile that was about to break out on his features. Naruto casually replied, very well then, I will sign the contract. He then bowed down and unfolded the scroll to sign his name on the document. What? It surprised me that he gave in so quickly. Does he think the Chimera ants will accept his decision to sign with the toads because he has a strong enough bond with them? Or, as Kakashi and Sensei hypothesized, are the Chimera ants merely his own genetic experiments? Jiraiya thought incoherently. Since Kakashi had informed him about King Meruem, he had honestly hoped that Naruto would call him to personally meet and assess him. To say he was disappointed that he had not was an understatement. Indeed, he would have preferred it if Naruto had called upon the female Chimera ant that Kakashi had informed him of, the one that the copy ninja claimed was nearly human. Like and the source of the genetic experiment theory regarding their origins. If Jiraiya had to be honest with himself, he did not want to believe that Naruto had used human, animal, or insect experimentation to create his summons. This was due to the consequences for his godson's mental state as well as the tragic events that had befallen his close friend and former teammate Orochimaru as a result of unlawful human experimentation. Specifically, he didn't want to even consider the follow-up theory that Kakashi and Sarutobi Sensei put forth, which held that if Naruto had indeed created the Chimera ants through human experimentation, then he and Orochimaru were the primary suspects behind the disappearances of founding Bloodline clan members of Konoha and Bloodline clan members from all across the elemental nations. He didn't want to believe his godson could or was walking the same path as his former best friend. Sarutobi Sensei was not incorrect. Naruto is utterly capricious. Every action or reaction he takes is the opposite of what you hope for, and nothing he does is what you expect. Jiraiya conducted a critical analysis, noting that he's extremely difficult to read and his motives are difficult to discern. After using his own blood to sign the contract, Naruto exclaimed, "There, it's done." It's interesting to note that his wound has already fully healed. Kakashi informed me that he was unaware of Naruto's level of healing ability because he had never witnessed Naruto sustain an injury. Jiraiya said to himself, I guess I'll have to tell Sarutobi Sensei about this. He'll want to know that Naruto seems to have an instant meiotic regenerative ability, just like Tsunade. Naruto threw the summoning scroll back to Jiraiya and said, now can you stop bothering me? I have a tough opponent for the final round of the Chunin exams, as you know. Preparations have to be made. I imagine the sole intention behind forcing me to sign the Toad summoning contract is to permanently link my destiny with Jiraiya. Jiraiya can easily reverse summon me or have the Toads do it if I ever go rogue. But when the time comes, all I'll need to do is apply the Uzumaki clan's contract seal to sever my ties to the Toads. For me, this is not a problem, thought Naruto. Don't be an idiot. Obviously you have to practice the summoning technique now that you have signed the contract. You need to meet the Toads and learn more about their abilities, and you need to work on team tactics and battle formations with them. Also, you need to be assigned a personal summon, and finally, you need to practice so that you don't accidentally summon a chimera ant when you need a toad or a toad when you need a chimera ant. Jiraiya was being direct. Is his true plan for me to call forth the toads and receive training from them? I didn't believe that he was sincere about the apprenticeship. I'd like to research these toads and see what makes them unique, so maybe I should give it a try. With a cunning smirk fixed on his features, Naruto thought, perhaps I will learn something interesting from this experience. Fine then, let us do this. In the interim, Otogakure main base. As he entered Orochimaru's throne room, Kabuto spat disgustingly, saying, "You called for me." He did not even bother to bow, get on his knees, or address his leader by name or title. Of course, Orochimaru noticed this, too. Not having seen Kabuto look at him with such rage and contempt since their first encounter, when Kabuto attacked him with the intention of maim and killing, Orochimaru was rendered completely speechless and dumbfounded for the first time in a long time, if not his entire life. For an instant, it appeared as though the snake Sannin would soon lose his temper. After all, he had little patience for disobedience and disobedience from his subordinates, not even Kabuto. But then it struck him, as though something had suddenly clicked on inside his head. Naturally, why hadn't he considered it earlier? In retrospect, the cause of Kabuto's actions seemed very clear. Minato's brat. There was no other explanation for Kabuto's unusual behavior, so it had to be. The assassination attempt on the blonde Jinchuriki must have made Kabuto very angry, but why exactly was he angry? Was it because 3 of the Sound 5 were lost in the mission's failure? It is not possible. If that were the case, Kabuto's anger would be understandable, but not his total lack of self-control, disrespect, or, to be more precise, his total disregard for his instincts for self-preservation. Was there any chance that Kabuto had an emotional bond of sorts with that annoying brat, even though the idea of it made him sick to his stomach? Has their bond progressed beyond that of puppet and puppet master? With poison on his tongue, Orochimaru asked, "Kabuto, have you forgotten to whom it is you are speaking to?" Blazing Kabuto with all of his deadly intent, he was unable to conceal his shock when Kabuto didn't even flinch under the full force of his menacing gaze. Turning Naruto-kun into an enemy was the most foolish act ever committed in the history of the elemental nations. I don't understand how an intellectual like you could have made such a stupid decision. Kabuto screamed. Kabuto, I won't warn you Why? Why didn't you consult with me before making this decision? I would have warned you about the consequences. At the very least I could have given you sufficient intel that would have at least given the 3 you sent a chance at survival. I don't even understand why an assassination attempt was necessary, Naruto-kun was not an enemy. Kabuto yelled with rage. Maybe not an enemy, but he was most certainly a loose end. If you're not smart enough to comprehend such simple logic, then maybe I have no use for you after all. Orochimaru snapped back. A loose end? You really think Naruto-kun would say anything? I thought I made it clear that he absolutely hates Konoha and the Sandaime Hokage. I made sure of it, and I didn't even have to push that hard. Kabuto was furious. He has not sworn his fealty to me or Otogakure, that makes him a loose end irrespective of what you think. You must have the intellect of a baboon if you can't reconcile yourself with such basic common sense. Orochimaru replied. We lost 3 of our strongest warriors, and I almost died too as a result of that decision. It was a bad move no matter how you look at it. Kabuto grumbled. Orochimaru asked, his eyes wide. You? Why? Did that brat attack you? Of course he did. Do you know how hard it was to convince him that I really had no knowledge of your assassination attempt on him? I'm lucky he even gave me a chance to explain myself. Kabuto responded. Orochimaru was rarely left speechless, and he also seldom took responsibility for his mistakes. But the news that Kabuto's actions had nearly cost him his life struck him like a freight train. At the very least, it wasn't totally sentimental. It wasn't necessarily sentimental. If Orochimaru knew one thing for sure, it was that Kabuto was the most gifted medical ninja and scientist he had ever laid eyes on, yes, even more gifted than his old teammate. When it came to spotting talent, Kabuto had no competition. No doubt existed in Orochimaru's mind that Kabuto would one day surpass Tsunade, and considering his own ambitions, he realized that it was best for him that Kabuto survive and continue to develop his special talents, as well as that Kabuto continue to assist him in his experiments, since both the success rate and the survival rate of his test subjects had increased by 80% since Kabuto joined him. Curious, Kabuto asked, taking Orochimaru's silence as the closest thing he would ever get from the arrogant Sannin to an apology. Anyway, what are we going to do now that we've lost 3 of our most elite ninja? Are we going to cancel the invasion? The invasion continues as planned. I've waited too long for this moment, planned too long to have it come to nothing, just because of one insolent brat. Orochimaru exploded with disgust. Our plan was hinging on the Sound 4 to trap the Sandaime Hokage inside the 4 Violet Flames barrier. With 3 of them gone. With conviction, Orochimaru said, "We'll use Tsuchi, Kin and Kinoto Dosu. I will personally take charge of their training and I will administer the curse seal on them." I see, and what about the 4th member? Orochimaru deadpanned, perhaps it is time to remove Shin from stasis. I don't think that is such a good idea, Orochimaru. Sama, at least, if you still intend to coerce Sasuke-kun into joining us. He will undoubtedly wonder about the eyes, and he will be displeased by the truth, or any lie that we could conjure up. In that case, you have until the Chunin exam finals to get Kimimaro-kun back to full health. But Orochimaru blurted, "No excuses, Kabuto. Get it done." With a furious expression. Hi. Orochimaru. Sama. Kabuto bowed respectfully, understanding better than to argue with the snake Sannin in this kind of mood because he had regained his sense of reason and, consequently, his instincts for self-preservation. Orochimaru questioned warily, "Tell me Kabuto, are you absolutely sure that Minato's brat won't rat out on us?" 100%, my lord. Naruto. Kun is no ordinary ninja, he is a man of honor. He has a code to fulfill all of his promises. When he makes a promise, he doesn't break it, no matter what. Besides, he intends to defect from Konoha, and our invasion is key to his plans, or at the very least, it makes things easier for him. Kabuto clarified. Now this is news to me. You never mentioned this before, Kabuto. Perhaps if you had told me this sooner I would have made different plans with regards to him. Do you think you could convince him to join us? To join Otogakure no Sato? Orochimaru was intrigued. I was hoping he would come to that decision of his own accord. That's part of the reason I suggested you let him help us with the development of the Cursed Seal and Edo Tensei. After that assassination attempt, however, I don't see him ever trusting anything that comes out of my mouth, more especially what comes out of your mouth. Nevertheless, we can at least appease him slightly. He has offered us a chance at a truce, but it comes at a price. Kabuto went silent. Orochimaru questioned sourly, what does the cursed fool want now? Nothing we cannot provide. He knows about our assassination of the Case Cage. He only wants the Case Cage's corpse and all will be forgiven. Kabuto replied with accuracy. The Case Cage, huh? Do as you wish with the corpse. I have no care for the Case Cage's bloodline limit, not when I am about to get my hands on my precious Sharingan. All jutsu in the world will be within my grasp once I get my hands on Sasuke. Kun kukakukuku. Orochimaru cracked up. Kabuto bowed respectfully and said, as you wish, Orochimaru. Sama. Kabuto posed a rhetorical question, satisfied? Naruto resealed the Case Cage into the human storage scroll and then sealed it into his left arm, saying, indeed I am. This will make up for the assassination attempt. All is forgiven. If I may ask, what did you do with Tobirama's corpse? And what do you intend to do with this corpse? Kabuto was intrigued. Naruto uttered a mysterious, all in good time, Kabuto. Sensei, all in good time. You still don't trust me, huh? But at least I delivered as promised. This means that you'll help us with the invasion, right? Kabuto replied inquisitively. No, it doesn't. The agreement was that I wouldn't treat you as an enemy and therefore will not act against your interests. In other words, this was your way of earning my forgiveness for the assassination attempt. If I do help you in any way, it will be in an indirect and roundabout way, and only because it serves my own interests. Don't worry, Kabuto. Sensei, even if I had made an enemy out of you, I wouldn't go as far as trying to kill you. Your master, definitely, but not you. I owe you too much for giving me the knowledge and enlightenment I needed to free myself of Konoha's shackles. Besides, you're my friend, and I like you. It doesn't, Naruto replied. Kabuto stammered, the word sounding so strange on his tongue, your friend? Yes, friends do share secrets, they watch out for each other, they forgive when they hurt each other, They help each other grow stronger with general problems that require assistance or with things that only a trusted friend can be trusted with. Your motives may or may not have been pure, but there is not even a shadow of doubt that I am better off than I was or would have been because of you. You're arguably the most important person in my life, said Naruto matter of factly. Suddenly, Kabuto was unable to look Naruto in the eye and had to adjust his glasses. Kabuto spoke, his glasses gleaming as an indecipherable look appeared in his eyes. Getting all sentimental on me, aren't we, Naruto-kun? I thought I warned you about the consequences of allowing yourself to become attached to people, especially shinobi people. I'm only stating facts, Kabuto. Sensei. There's being sentimental, and there's facing reality. I'm merely laying out the facts, so to speak. Naruto responded. Kabuto trailed off, thoughtful, I see. Naruto trailed off, in any case, once I leave Konoha, you and I won't see much of each other for a while, it could be months, it could even be years before we see each other again. So if there's anything you want to say to me. Kabuto was shocked by the sudden realization that he wouldn't be in constant communication with Naruto for the first time in 5 years. Well, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Did you steal the corpse of Yondaime? Dono? See, I ask because I broke into the Hokage crypt yesterday to get his corpse. Orochimaru. Sama wanted to resurrect him too tomorrow along with Naidame and Shodem. Dono. Imagine my surprise to find it completely empty. Kabuto replied in a voice filled with skepticism. Is that what he wants to say to me, the last thing? Then, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Naruto shook his head in thought. Naruto answered, yeah, I did take his corpse and Kushina's. Steel in his tone, Kabuto said, I'm going to need you to hand over your father. I hope you understand, 3 Hokages is better than 1. It's simple mathematics. With a hint of inquiry, Naruto remarked, it sounds like you're threatening me. With a grave and dangerous tone that made Naruto's fight or flight instincts kick in, Kabuto said, I'm just saying. You promised that if I got Yondaime cage. Dono for you, then you wouldn't act against us. Denying us access to Yondaime Hokage. Dono, however, is doing exactly that, in other words. It's a breach of promise, a betrayal. Sensei, let me first clarify something to you. I stole my father's corpse long before you told me about your invasion plans, long before you asked me to help you with modifications to the Edo Tensei, long before this promise was made. Therefore, it cannot be a breach of promise if the act was committed before the promise was made. Secondly, you wouldn't even need the entire corpse for the jutsu, a small DNA sample would surface, so I don't even understand why you want the entire corpse. Finally, and most importantly, it is all irrelevant whether you have his corpse or DNA sample anyway. My father's soul is trapped inside the Shinigami because he used the Reaper Death Seal on the Kyuubi. Your jutsu wouldn't work on him. Naruto went into detail. That can't be true. I thought Yondaime Dono used the 4-symbol seal to seal away the Kyuubi? Kabuto gasped. Actually, it is the 8-symbol seal, a variation he created of the 4-symbol seal. However, before sealing away the Kyuubi, he sealed away half of its soul into the Death God using the Reaper Death Seal. The Kyuubi inside of me is only half of the beast, and believe me, this half is actually strong enough to take on all the other beasts and win. I can't imagine how powerful the Kyuubi must have been at full strength. Naruto was astonished. Kabuto trailed off incredulously. That can't be. Such raw power. Yes, he is the apex of all apex predators. Nevertheless, I think we're done here. Orochimaru will have to make do with those 2. It should be enough to take out the 3rd, although a Hokage that lived for that long shouldn't be underestimated. He might have some tricks up his sleeve. Warned Naruto. Duly noted. I just have one more question for you if you don't mind. Kabuto replied. Speak your mind, sensei. Kabuto immediately dropped a bombshell, asking, how long have you been a member of the Bloodline? Naruto's eyes widened a little in shock, but he quickly moved past it. How perceptive of you, Kabuto. Sensei. I suppose I should have known better than to try and hide things from you. Replied Naruto. So you did join the Bloodline? Tell me, who's the leader? Who are the other members? Who founded this organization? Kabuto was frantic. I'm the founder, of course, sensei. As for the other members, you'll find out in due time. I doubt you know any of them, but they are people to be feared, even by someone like your master. Big things are in store for the Shinobi world, sensei. The world as you know it is about to undergo a complete overhaul. A new order is on the horizon. Eventually you will have to choose sides. I hope you will choose wisely, sensei. Naruto said in a grave tone. No way. You're the leader? It's impossible. No, wait. Why are you collecting bloodline limit corpses exactly? What are you doing with the... For the first time, Kabuto realized what a monster he had created and how truly dangerous Naruto was. Don't ask too many questions, sensei. Try to stay out of the affairs of the organization, will you? I may be leader, but I can't be held responsible for what my colleagues do to you if they find you snooping around. Naruto said in a grave tone. Is this the reason behind Orochimaru Sama's intense desire to kill Naruto-kun? Or rather, did he sense in his gut what a problem he might present to us later on, or what threat he might pose to our objectives? Since Akatsuki founded and is the leader of the Bloodline, an organization that poses a similar threat to society as the Red Circle, how powerful will he be when he grows up? Kabuto thought as he forced himself to resist the urge to automatically draw a chakra scalpel and attack the apparent threat in front of him. Tell me, Naruto-kun, why am I only finding out now about this? How come I wasn't your first recruit? How come you still haven't offered me a position in the organization? Kabuto was quiet. Naturally, your allegiance to Orochimaru would make you a liability in my organization, and secondly, how do you ask your sensei to become your subordinate? Naruto paused. Kabuto questioned suspiciously, are those the only reasons? Of course. I've always been completely straight with you. If there was another reason I would tell you. You know this. Deadpanned Naruto. Naruto turned and walked away, saying, I have to go now. Good luck with the invasion, sensei. I hope everything goes according to plan. Kabuto was left feeling as though he was losing something significant in his life and had no way to stop it, leaving him unsure of how to react. Sasuke yelled, what are you doing, Dobi? With fury. With the exception of his slightly longer hair, black shorts instead of white ones, a black turtleneck shirt instead of blue, and black sandals instead of blue ones, he was dressed as he usually did. There were 3 tomoe on each pupil of his blood. Red eyes. Perhaps the adrenaline rush added to his already intense anger. He was boiling with rage. Naruto had just thrown away a once in a lifetime chance that would have allowed him to defeat Sabaku no Gaara, the strongest ninja in Suna and the keeper of a tailed beast, in addition to scoring his first kill. It was a significant accomplishment for him to take a life because it proved that he was capable of killing Itachi when the time came, proving that he is cut out for this ninja stuff. He would also be able to prove to himself that he was strong enough, or at least nearly strong enough, to defeat Itachi by eliminating someone as formidable as Gaara. He had accomplished a remarkable feat by subduing and immobilizing a Biju with his Sharingan after trapping Shukaku in his Genjutsu. To make matters easier for him, Gaara had made himself fall asleep in order to free the beast, leaving him vulnerable to Sasuke's Chidori, which he would have done had Naruto not tackled him out of the way. This was not the time for Sasuke to accept that the foolish, envious Dobi was trying to take the limelight away from him. Naruto asked snidely, is that any way to speak to the guy who just saved your life? Sasuke angrily grabbed the blonde Uzumaki by the scruff of the neck and yelled, did you just save mine, or his life? Feeling sentimental over your Jinchuriki friend? Get it through your thick head, Dobi, he's an enemy. Sasuke turned around to see, much to his horror, that there were enormous spikes of sand sticking out from the precise spot in the surrounding area from where the Dobi had tackled him. Naruto said, the sand moved beneath your feet, idiot, he was about to skewer you if I didn't tackle you, take a look for yourself. Impossible. I've completely subdued the Biju with my Sharingan, it's under my control. If his automatic defense was the result of his beast protecting him, then it shouldn't have been activated. Sasuke replied with defiance. Naruto stated, then either you don't have as much control over it as you think, or the beast isn't the source of his automatic defense. Based on what he had already surmised from this incident, he had concluded that the love tattooed on Gaara's forehead was the source of the chakra controlling the sand. Naruto thought analytically, what an interesting fuinjutsu, almost as good as my automatic genjutsu defense seal. With force, Sasuke asked, what is it? What was Naruto's logical response? Huh? The source of his automatic defense. Don't play dumb with me, Dobi. I know you've already figured it out. Sasuke yelled. Sasuke was trying hard not to burn the Dobi to a crisp when Naruto shot back, it's the tattoo on his forehead, I'm sure if you actually put your Sharingan to use instead of looking for easy ways out you'd have figured it out by yourself. Sasuke questioned incredulously, how on earth does a tattoo do something like that? It's a fuinjutsu dummy, I mean, for someone with a hiki that gives him powers on his neck you'd expect better than this from you. Sarcastically responded Naruto. Deadpanning, Sasuke said, I hate you. Curious, Naruto said, I know. So, anyway, what are you going to do about this little situation? Where's Sakura? Sasuke asked in a totally irrelevant way. Naruto answered, she's safe, my shadow clone took her to safety. With an air of seriousness, Sasuke said, good. I don't want her to see this. Naruto inquired once more, what are you going to do? I'm going to try and activate Chidori one more time. I was able to beat his sand before in speed, I can beat it again. Replied Sasuke. That's not necessarily true, Sasuke. You were fresh and at full health then, you've taken a lot of damage and used a lot of chakra already as you are now. Also, the Biju becomes stronger the longer it is released. Shukaku has been out for a while now, his sand will be stronger and faster, even if he isn't the one controlling it. Finally, killing the host won't necessarily help our cause, it just makes things worse as Shukaku will be released to wreak havoc on the village. He's already almost all the way detached from his container so he won't have to take time to manifest himself if you kill his container now. Naruto went on to explain. Sasuke exclaimed, then what do you suggest we do? To Sasuke's dismay and frustration, Naruto casually shrugged his shoulders and said, who knows? This cannot be Sasuke killing the container. While it's true that Shukaku won't take long to reappear if the container is destroyed in these conditions, a few hours is still too long. Broken from his thoughts by the familiar sound of chirping birds and crackling lightning, Naruto thought, I need this beast attacking the village before Suna and Ado are defeated. Turning around, he saw that Sasuke had not only activated Chidori but also reactivated his curse mark. How wonderful! Naruto started, but his teammate interrupted him right away. I thought I told you that. Shut up. Dobi. Can't you see I'm trying to concentrate? Standing around doing nothing isn't going to help. I have to try something. When I fight Itachi there won't be time for me to sit idle and ponder the future, I'll have to act or die, or act and die, either way, if I run now then I will run when the going gets tough in my fated battle with my brother. Sasuke said in confession. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and said, well, when you put it like that. I need to prepare myself to act. It will be clear that I allowed Sasuke to die if he dies and I survive. Oh no. This is definitely not going as planned, thought Naruto, who was now regretting ever assisting Sasuke in reawakening his Sharingan since that choice was now biting him in the rear. I'm going. Sasuke exclaimed as he vanished in an instant, exerting more physical force than he had ever known and giving this final strike everything he had. Naruto watched Sasuke dodge and weave around the many spikes and spears of sand that were thrown his way, even the ones that were coming from beneath his feet, or from outside his Sharingan's line of sight. I don't believe it, he's actually doing it, Naruto thought to himself. Well, I guess this is it, darn it. When Naruto noticed a pattern in the sand attack, he was struck with a startling realization. Rather than defensively fending off Sasuke, the sand was actually actively attacking him in a methodical and measured manner, as if to lure him into a trap. As he used his wind enhanced Shunshin, the Shunpo no Jutsu, Naruto thought, this automatic defense is way more advanced than we realized. He moved at incredible speeds, even for an experienced elite Jonin, and he did so just in time to save Sasuke, who had been caught by the sand around his legs and flung head first into a massive sand spike. Fortunately, Naruto arrived in time to catch Sasuke and move a significant distance away. You can thank me later for. Naruto trailed off as he witnessed Sasuke's Sharingan vanish before his very eyes, his breathing so labored and his appearance so feeble that it was reminiscent of a patient suffering from a high fever. Perfect, Naruto mused to himself as he realized that Shukaku would soon regain consciousness because Sasuke's Sharingan was no longer active. Sasuke uttered a feeble P. Put me D. Down. D. Dobi. As he felt incredibly uneasy about being carried in a bridal manner by the fair-haired Uzumaki. Naruto started to run toward the village while holding Sasuke in his arms. No can do, Sasuke. With your Sharingan deactivated, Shukaku will regain consciousness anytime now. We can't defeat him, we'll have to get someone who can. We have to get Jiraiya Sama. He had many other options, too, like using the power of his own beast or his Uzumaki sealing and barrier techniques, but that would mean that he was actually helping Konoha, which would have contributed to the opposite effect of what he wanted to happen here today. Hell would freeze over before he did something like that. Of course, he could have summoned a boss-level toad or two or his chimera ants to hold off Shukaku for a while. He could even have tried to lure him away from the village. He had determined to find Jiraiya, even if it meant wasting as much time and killing as many Konoha shinobi as possible in the process before finding Jiraiya. Naruto wrapped up his version of events with. And that is everything that happened up to that point. He then found himself being questioned as was customary and expected since he had revealed his true potential, or, at least, what everyone else believed to be his true potential. For his part, he was aware that they had barely touched the surface of his true abilities, and if they were afraid of him so much now, imagine how much more so if they had known what he was truly capable of. Positively speaking, Orochimaru had finished the Sandaime Hokage, and if that wasn't enough, the Sandaime Hokage had also sealed Orochimaru's hands inside the Death God, effectively removing most of the Snake Sanin's ability to use ninjutsu. To be honest, he could not have asked for a better outcome. One of his adversaries was dead, and the other was all but rendered useless. Naruto, however, was not so naive as to think that life inside the village would be any easier. Take into consideration the fact that he was being closely observed and interrogated by the three elders, who also happened to be the old fart's childhood friends and advisors. Evil Root Anbu leader and Hokage wannabe Shimura Danzo, Utatane Kaharu, and Mitokado Hamura. Naturally, Jiraiya was in the room with Kakashi, Kurenai, Ibiki, and Anko. Your story certainly matches up perfectly with one Uchiha Sasuke's version of events. If he hadn't been completely isolated since the invasion, I would have sworn that the two of you had rehearsed it together. Jiraiya replied with a little suspicion. It matches perfectly because it is the actual truth. If it didn't match up, then one of us would have been lying. Obviously. Casually responded Naruto. You do not seem all too concerned about Sarutobi's passing, Naruto. Kun. I was under the impression that the two of you were very close. Kaharu was inquisitive. I was also under the impression that the three of you elders were his childhood friends. You don't seem all that bummed out about it. Jiraiya. Sensei was his beloved student, I don't see him crying. Naruto responded. With a sharp tone, Danzo said, You're deflecting, that's a very peculiar response, Uzumaki Naruto. I'm not deflecting, you old fart. I'm merely making a point. We are all ninja here, death is part and parcel with the job. Nobody is going to walk around sulking and crying in public about their losses, or have you forgotten the ninja rules in your old age? A shinobi must never show emotion, you forgot that rule already? Quips Naruto. Your callous way of talking and blatant disregard for protocol was amusing when you were little, but that has gotten old very fast. I would suggest you show a little more respect when addressing your superiors, Uzumaki Naruto. Hamura said erratically. Exasperated, Naruto said, Yes, whatever. Am I done here? I really don't want to be here otherwise. With an odd and menacing glint in his eyes, Danzo said, You're not done, not by a long shot. We need to talk about your status in the village going forward. My status? Naruto inquired, feigning ignorance for the sake of appearance, since he was well aware of Danzo's topic. You are the vessel of the nine-tailed demon fox, and yet you were unable to defeat the vessel of the one-tailed fox. In fact, it doesn't even seem like you even tried at all before running with your tail between your legs. That is an insult and embarrassment to the village and our status in the shinobi world, and a direct consequence of that is the thousands of good men and women who were lost in the war with Otogakure and Suna. This issue cannot be ignored any longer. You need to be trained to use your demon powers. You need to join my Anbu so that you can receive proper training and conditioning. Hold on a second there, Tigra, isn't that supposed to be the Hokage's decision? Has a new Hokage been elected yet? Aren't you getting a little ahead of yourself there, Danzo? Naruto paused. That's Lord Danzo to you. Naruto firmly stated, nevertheless. Lord Danzo, it is not your decision to make. Naruto thought slyly, nice try, Danzo, but I'm afraid things aren't going the way you think they will. Indeed, Uzumaki Naruto. Kun, fortunately we had already discussed this with Sarutobi and Lord Daimyo before the final round of the Chunin exams in case something happened to Sarutobi during the war. It was decided that Jiraiya of the Sannin should succeed the third and become the Godem Hokage. Kaharu responded. Danzo questioned angrily, what? Why wasn't I informed of this meeting? The old war hawk was beginning to truly despise the Yondaime's son when Naruto said, demeaningly, how strange that you should ask such a question. Lord Danzo. I was under the impression that, as the commander of the famed Root Anbu unit, nothing is supposed to happen within the borders of Fire Country without you knowing about it. Perhaps you're not as good at your job as you were rumored to be, or perhaps you're losing your touch in your old age. Well, it seems you have your response, Danzo. Dono. Hamura uttered, unable to contain the amusement that was slowly seeping into his tone of voice. Oh no, Hiruzen. You are solely to blame for this. Danzo thought angrily, not believing that Hiruzen had managed to outwit him and get the last laugh even from the afterlife. With everyone's eyes firmly fixed on Jiraiya as they awaited his response, Koharu said, in any case, with regards to your proposal, Danzo. Dono, it would appear that the authority to grant or deny your request rests with our new Hokage, Jiraiya. Dono. It won't be necessary for Naruto to join Root in order to learn and master his Jinchuriki powers. I will be taking over that responsibility, but nevertheless, it is not my decision to make, as I believe that I can get us a more suitable Hokage candidate. Naruto and I will leave as soon as possible. We will find my old teammate, Senju Tsunade. Hime and bring her back to the village. She will become the Godem Hokage. Jiraiya made a controversial statement. Jiraiya. Dono. You can't possibly be seriously considering declining such a great honor and responsibility. The village needs you now more than it has ever done before. Lady Tsunade severed all ties to the village. What even makes you think she will return to the village, much less take on the mantle of Hokage? Ibiki asked in an incredulous and worried voice. 2 Sannin is better than 1, is it not? If I successfully return Tsunade to the village and she becomes Godem Hokage, will the village not be better off than if I were to just take on the role myself? Jiraiya put it simply. Ibiki questioned warily, and what happens if she refuses to return? Naruto replied, as if making a Sannin do anything was the simplest thing ever. Everyone was staring at him as if he had grown a second head on top of the one he already had. Then we will drag her back here kicking and screaming if we have to. It's really that simple. Jiraiya said, there, you have your answer. In a firm voice that allowed no room for ambiguity or inquiry. Very well then, you have 1 month to find her, bring her back to the village, and have her take on the mantle of Hokage. Should you fail to do that within that time frame, you will automatically become the Godem Hokage and be required to return to the village with immediate effect. Hamura replied. Jiraiya nodded and said, those are acceptable terms. Jiraiya gave the order, Naruto, go home and pack your bags, we leave immediately. Danzo proclaimed angrily, he's not going anywhere, and I'm not done questioning him. With a hint of exasperation, Anko said, geez old man, what more do you want to ask him? He told us everything and his story lines up with Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura's version of events. We also know for a fact that they haven't interacted or seen each other since the invasion. Uchiha Sasuke has been under constant surveillance at the hospital and so has, to a lesser extent, Haruno Sakura. She was bored to death with any form of interrogation that did not involve the interrogation subject's excruciating pain and loud screams. It's okay Anko. San, I'm always ready to leave the village at a moment's notice. A ninja must always be prepared for any eventuality. Let Danzo. Dono ask his questions, I'm sure you won't be long. Casually replied Naruto. You were seen with Yakushi Kabuto a day before the invasion, the same Yakushi Kabuto who happened to be a traitor to the village, the same Yakushi Kabuto who happens to be Orochimaru's right-hand man, the same Orochimaru who attacked our beloved village during the final round of the Chunin examinations. Add to that the fact of you not even getting a scratch on your person in your team's fight with Shukaku and you leading Shukaku on a rampage across the village. I'd say it looks like you were quite the traitorous enemy of Konoha, wouldn't you say, Uzumaki Naruto? Danzo asked rhetorically, everyone staring at Naruto with shock, anger, disbelief, and suspicion. Naruto laughed, hee hee hee. Ha 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 ha. With amusement. With barely controllable anger mixed with caution, Danzo said, I'm sorry Uzumaki. San, but I. No, actually, I'm sure that none of us in this room with the exception of you find any amusement in this situation. Would you care to share the joke? Danzo. Dono, I didn't know you were such a joker. I mean, imagine if I told everyone here that you were the real Orochimaru collaborator? Imagine if I told everyone here that you had an entire arm made out of Hashirama's DNA made for you by Orochimaru? Imagine if I said that you had a Sharingan eye hidden behind those bandages of yours? Wouldn't you laugh at the sheer weight of stupidity laced into every syllable in that statement? Naruto said in a sinister undertone. Danzo tried his hardest to maintain a poker face while internally persuading, unable to comprehend how he could have obtained that information. Meanwhile, everyone was waiting impatiently for Danzo's comeback. You'll have to forgive me, Naruto, but I had to give you one final test to confirm your loyalties. It was nothing personal. Danzo stated diplomatically. You dirty brat, you're not going to get away with this. Danzo thought, barely suppressing his malicious intent. Naruto questioned with a fake impatience, no offense taken, I understand perfectly. Can I go now or is there another test lying in wait? You idiot, you're fishing in the wrong pond. I will be busy finishing up my plans for the Bloodline while you are busy attempting to connect Orochimaru and myself. Naruto thought deviously, you're playing checkers, but I'm playing shogi. You're too many steps behind, and you're not even on the same board game as me. No, you can leave now. I hope you understand. Danzo angrily said. Naruto stood up and said, thank you, Danzo. Dono. Jiraiya. Sensei, I'll be waiting for you at the gates, or rather where the gates used to be. Good call, I'll be with you soon, I just have to sort out a few things quickly with the elders. Jiraiya responded. Naruto turned to leave the Hokage's office, saying, Roger that, by your leave then, everyone. Jiraiya inquired, so, Kurenai, Ibiki, what did you think? With curiosity. Kurenai trailed off, leaving the sentence open. Ended as there really was nothing more to say about the situation. They needed more surveillance on Naruto and more evidence before they could draw any conclusions. I have no thoughts on the matter at the moment. I honestly cannot tell what is real and what is not. I only know what you know, that his story checks out, even though his lack of resistance against Shukuku and his Jinchuriki is a point of suspicions. My report is exactly the same as Kurenai. San, we don't have enough evidence. In fact, had his actions been undertaken by anyone other than him, there probably wouldn't even have been a need for suspicion or interrogation. Ibiki responded. Jiraiya questioned sharply, so you're saying that his actions only seem suspicious because we are already suspicious of him? Before Ibiki could respond, Danzo stopped him and said, he is guilty. Just because you cannot prove something doesn't make it any less true. You are all ninja, what do your shinobi instincts tell you? I've seen this game played many times, most recently by Orochimaru in the events leading to his defection. While it is hard to comprehend that Minato Kun's heir could ever turn traitor, we must consider that he knows nothing of his lineage and was raised in a very negative environment. It wouldn't surprise me to find that he holds no love whatsoever for the village. I do not believe he is working with Orochimaru, however, at least, not actively. If he was, he would have unleashed his Biju alongside the Shukaku child and attacked the village together with him. It would have been the clearest opportunity for him to destroy the village. He might have his own goals and ambitions outside of whatever Orochimaru has planned, and therefore, if involved at all, decided to play a more passive-aggressive role in the invasion. Nevertheless, it is good that Jiraiya, Kun and Kakashi Chan have decided to take him under their wing. Perhaps you could mold and shape him to be the kind of shinobi you, Sarutobi and Minato Kun have been for the village. We entrust everything to you, Jiraiya, Kun, Kakashi, Chan. Hamura said sagely. After giving Kakashi a hard backslap, Jiraiya said, thank you, we will do the best we can, right, Kakashi? Kakashi stammered a little before quickly getting back up. Kakashi responded with a slightly silly salute, of course, Jiraiya. Sama. Thank you, both of you. Feel free to approach us if you need any help on the situation, we will provide a listening ear and offer words of advice where we can. Kaharu replied with a slight grin. With a strong sense of resolve in his eyes, Jiraiya uttered, we will handle and fix the situation, we promise. After 3 days. Knock, knock, knock. One with an absurdly large amount of chakra, and one with an absurdly powerful and potent chakra? After spending a lot of time with Uchiha Sasuke and his sensei, Hitaki Kakashi, whose chakra was tainted by the Uchiha signature, Naruto thought, definitely the Akatsuki, Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame to be exact. As he slowly rose from his couch and made his way towards the door. Knock, knock, knock. Coming. Naruto exclaimed as he approached the door. He opened it without bothering to peek through the peephole because he was positive that the two people were who they claimed to be. The shorter of the two said, "Good afternoon, Naruto-kun." He was a man who, Naruto noticed, resembled Sasuke a lot but was taller and larger in stature. He was a 3-Tomoe Sharingan with markings that resembled tear ducts running down his face from his eyelids. He was dressed in light blue shinobi pants, black ninja sandals, white leg warmers, and a black cloak with a high collar embroidered with red clouds. The other guy was dressed exactly like Itachi, with the exception that his sandals were blue rather than black and that he was carrying a massive sword that was covered in white bandages. He appeared to be a blue shark that was either posing as a human or one that had assumed a humanoid form. In addition, he was significantly taller than Itachi and had a physique that seemed more muscular. "Good afternoon, Itachi. Dono, Kisame. Dono. Would you like to come in? I was making some coffee and biscuits and I would be honored if you could join me." Naruto replied with respect. With amusement dancing in his eyes, Kisame remarked, "This is not the kind of response I expected at all. This Jinchuriki must have been dropped on his head as a baby." Ignoring his partner, Itachi stated simply, "We have orders from our leader to take you back to the organization with us." He was willing to continue this charade for the time being. "I'm not the one you want though, am I? It is the beast inside of me that you really want, am I right?" retorted Naruto. "These Konoha shinobi are something else, aren't they? Hard to believe that even Genin-level ninja like him know about our organization after we went to such great lengths to keep our existence and especially our true motives hidden." Kisame spoke with a sense of dissatisfaction. Itachi said, seemingly unconcerned about the outcome, "It changes nothing. You're coming with us, Naruto-kun, willingly or by force, it's your choice." With a questioning expression on their faces, Kisame and Itachi exchanged glances, more so Kisame than the ever stoic Uchiha, as they were taken aback by the turn of events. "How soon is your deadline? You see, I'm currently working on a special jutsu to separate me from the fox without killing me. If your deadline is not immediate, would it be possible to give me some more time to get rid of the beast? Or is this a request I can only ask directly of your leader?" Naruto inquired. "You buying this shit?" "I'm not buying it one bit. I think he's just stalling for time in hopes that Jiraiya will come to the rescue." Kisame responded with skepticism. "I couldn't detect any signs of deception with my Sharingan. Did you and Samahata detect anything from his chakra fluctuations?" Itachi was intrigued. Itachi raised an eyebrow in response to Kisame's retort, "No, but I bet he's a really good liar. He sure looks like one. I mean, just look at him, he's acting just like you." Itachi was aware that Kisame was very good at lying, but he hadn't realized Kisame was that good at it. After all, the former mist swordsman made his reputation by assassinating numerous of his own comrades and fellow countrymen, so maybe he should reconsider their friendship. "So, is this a normal thing for you guys, staring into each other's eyes like that? Because your little romantic moment is wasting precious time, isn't it? I mean, Jiraiya Sensei has a high opinion of himself when it comes to women, but even he should be able to figure out that there is no way a pretty woman like that would fall for him so easily. Unless she was either a spy or an assassin, or in this particular case, being controlled by way of genjutsu. How long do you think you can continue to deceive Jiraiya Sensei with the genjutsu you placed on that woman?" Naruto asked, much to the surprise of his would-be captors, who, despite having politely asked the blonde Uzumaki to accompany them, had not expected any cooperation at all. The fact that the little genin was able to see through Itachi's genjutsu, even though it wasn't his best work, surprised them as well. Kisame's right arm began to move toward the sword's skull-shaped handle as he spoke. "This is some kind of trick, right? This kid has gotta be messing with us. Let me chop off his legs just in case." Naruto said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, a useless gesture. "My legs will naturally regenerate within half a day if I lose consciousness. If I'm awake, I can regenerate them in about a minute, maybe even less." Itachi. Kisame trailed off helplessly, utterly perplexed by the blonde Uzumaki and unsure of what further action to take regarding the young Jinchuriki. This was not the kind of delicate problem he was good at solving. Instead, he usually attacked and killed or attacked and captured his targets in order to solve his problems. "Okay, Naruto-kun, you can make your request directly from leader and since your company operating, then we won't resort to violent measures," Itachi conceded. "Can you keep up with us or should we have my partner carry you to our destination?" Itachi replied. "I'm not sure I can keep up with US-ranked ninjas, can you please carry me, fish face?" Kisame furiously scowled at the youthful Uzumaki, while Itachi managed to conceal his amusement. Naruto asked in a mockingly innocent manner. "Yeah, I'll carry you, right after I chop off those damn stubs of yours that you call legs. I wonder how many times you can regenerate them before you run out of chakra?" Kisame replied in an ominous voice. A young boy's irate voice echoed through the corridor. "I found you, finally." As soon as Naruto sensed Sasuke's chakra signature entering the city, he knew exactly what would happen. Sasuke charged at his brother with reckless abandon, declaring his malicious intentions. Since Naruto had been monitoring everyone's chakra, Jiraiya's arrival was also expected. Kisame had to keep the Sannin busy while the two brothers carried on with their one-sided duel. Naruto had nothing to do but watch the events almost leisurely, though he became a little worried when Sasuke began to scream hysterically and then passed out, which was a sign that the battle was over. At that moment, Jiraiya made the decision to act decisively and called upon the fire breathing toad's stomach to trap and apprehend the Akatsuki pair. Remarkably, Kisame was vocally against the decision to retreat, even though it was made by the merciless Itachi, who had just killed the entire Uchiha clan. Nevertheless, he obeyed his partner's orders and they ran down the hallway, taking a quick right. After witnessing the toad's actual insides attacking and attempting to restrain the Akatsuki duo, Jiraiya and Naruto trailed behind the pair, with the blonde Uzumaki examining each move Jiraiya made with great care and attention. Jiraiya was understandably shocked to find a human-sized hole burned through the toad's stomach, the only trace of the jutsu that had been used. Jiraiya appeared to have been confident that the Akatsuki pair would not be able to escape. Amaterasu? So those are the black flames that Kabuto told me were unquenchable? Naruto reasoned analytically. If my memory serves me correctly, he used the left eye to cast Tsukiyomi on Sasuke. This means that he must have used the right eye to cast this jutsu. In other words, his left eye can cast powerful genjutsu and his right eye possesses powerful ninjutsu. The toad mouth bind is a jutsu that calls forth the stomach of the massive fire breathing toad of Mount Myoboku. It's supposed to be impervious to fire-style ninjutsu. How then could this jutsu have been defeated by a fire-style ninjutsu? Just what kind of jutsu users are these guys? Jiraiya wondered warily, reasoning that it must have been his reputation alone that allowed him and Naruto to get away with such ease, wondering now whether he could have defeated even one of these guys, let alone the two of them at once. These are S-ranked ninja, in other words, cage-level ninja. They are no different from you, so what did you expect? Retorted Naruto. This isn't right. Jiraiya sadly trailed off. The only plausible reason for the toad mouth bind's present state of mind is that he must have been an undefeated jutsu until now, Naruto reasoned. Don't beat yourself up too much about it. I did an investigation back when I was at the academy. It turns out that Uchiha Itachi has the second highest academy scores ever, behind only Yondaime Sama Namikaze Minato. You of all people should know what that means given that all three Sannin, Hitaki Sakumo, Sandaime Sama Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Hitaki Kakashi graduated from that same academy. Naruto clarified, attempting to put things into perspective for Sannin, the toad. Jiraiya vowed, following his statement by pulling out a sealing scroll as he got ready to seal away the black flames. Indeed, he is also the same man that single-handedly annihilated the entire Uchiha clan, arguably the strongest clan in the village, comparable only to the Senju clan. Perhaps I also underestimated what that achievement means exactly. Perhaps I have fallen into the same trap as my elders of underestimating the next generation of shinobi. Are you planning to seal away the black flames? What for? Do you plan to replicate the technique? Naruto was curious. I doubt it's a jutsu that can be replicated. Bloodline limit jutsus are frustrating like that. But it wouldn't hurt to study the technique, to learn about its strengths and weaknesses. Jiraiya clarified. Naruto said simply, I see. Curious, Naruto asked, so what now? Do we carry on with our mission or do we head back to the village? We have no choice but to carry on with the mission. The sooner we find Tsunade the better, especially if those two attack again. With Tsunade by my side the odds will be evened out, wouldn't you say? Jiraiya looked upbeat. Naruto tried to say, I think it's my guy, but someone's coming. But it was too late as the attacker charged directly at Jiraiya. Dynamic entry. The attacker, who was now known as Might Guy, yelled as he struck the Toad Sannin, who had just stood back up after putting out the black flames, with a devastating straight flying kick that sent the enormous Sannin crashing into and through the wall. Guy cried out in delight, "Naruto! Kun! I'm so glad I arrived in time, I came as fast as I could." Naruto explained much to Guy's embarrassment, Actually, Guy. Sensei, you're quite late, very late actually. The Akatsuki are long gone and the guy you just attacked is Jiraiya. Sensei. As soon as he returned to the hallway, Jiraiya yelled angrily, "What is the meaning of this, Guy?" Guy apologized profusely, saying, Jiraiya. Sama. Please accept my apologies, I thought you were Uchiha Itachi. Jiraiya cried out angrily, "What? We don't even look alike at all, you dimwit." Guy pleaded in a funny way, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, great Jiraiya." Dono. Surprised by the taijutsu master's attack's incredible speed and power, Jiraiya grumbled, holding onto his jaw in pain. Bah. It's fine. Just don't let it happen again. Anyway, what are you doing all the way here? How did you know we were under attack, and how did you get here so fast? Jiraiya responded with skepticism. Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame infiltrated the village earlier. My arch-rival Kakashi, Sarutobi Asuma, and Yuhi Kurenai confronted them as they were attempting to leave the village. They were soundly defeated by Itachi alone. Kurenai and Asuma are recovering in the hospital, but Kakashi is in worse condition. He is comatose and not responding to any treatment at all. Doctors say that his neural activity is at an unhealthy low. He has about 2 weeks before he passes on. According to Kurenai San, Itachi used some kind of genjutsu on him. Guy went into great detail. Tsukiyomi, that's the name of the ocular genjutsu he used. He did the same thing to his little brother, Uchiha Sasuke. You should take him back to the village quickly to get medical treatment. Naruto and I will continue with our mission. It is now even more imperative that we find her and return her to the village. If the medics in the village cannot do anything for these two, then Tsunade is the only one who can heal them. Jiraiya clarified. Hi. I will immediately return Sasuke Kun to the village, but are the two of you going to be okay on your own? These Akatsuki, they are dangerous even to someone like you. Guy responded with worry. Don't worry about us, we'll be alright. Just focus on your mission, and report everything that has happened to the elders. Jiraiya said, Hi. Jiraiya. Sama. 20 kilometers distant. Impossible. Itachi inquired, what is it, Kisame? With curiosity. Kisame spoke warily, it's that brat, the Kyuubi brat. I sense his chakra up ahead. Itachi blinked and asked, how far ahead? It's almost like he's waiting for us, about a kilometer ahead, Kisame said incredulously. Itachi, not used to dealing with people whose motivations he couldn't deduce from them from a single look, whose actions he couldn't foresee or understand, asked with a deep frown, is there anyone else around him? There's no one else around, none that Samahata and I can sense in any case. Replied Kisame. Then let us go and greet him. Lead the way, we'll listen to what he has to say and then take it from there. Itachi gave the order. Leading the way to the location of the blonde Uzumaki, Kisame remarked, very well, but I get the feeling that this particular Jinchuriki is going to pose us a lot more problems than he is worth. Naruto. Kun, who exactly are you? What sort of shinobi do you possess? Itachi wondered, a million questions about the blonde Jinchuriki running through his head. Took you long enough, I've been waiting for you the whole day. Not even bothering to turn around and face them yet, Naruto spoke as the pair of Akatsuki arrived. You're a shadow clone. Itachi said, quite literally. Very remarkable, Itachi. Dono. You truly do deserve the reputation that you have. The eyes of your brother and Kakashi Sensei are incapable of seeing through my shadow clone jutsu. Sincere compliments were given by Naruto. Naruto. Kun must have known about us before we even entered Konoha, given that this clone has been waiting for us the entire day. It also implies that he had to have prepared for this possibility in advance, even figuring out how we would retreat. But that's not possible. To have planned so far ahead, he would have needed to be able to see the future, though I suppose he could have simply prepared for every scenario. However, the days of underestimating Naruto Kun are long gone. From now on, I have to treat him seriously. I have to approach him with the same caution and attention to detail that I do Madara and Pain. Itachi contemplated deeply. What do you want, brat? Kisame angrily snapped. To resume our earlier conversation, of course. When he eventually turned to face his guests, Naruto said. That gunbai on your back, is it a weapon of some sort or is it just for show? Naturally, Itachi inquired inquisitively as Uchiha, as he was well aware of a fabled ninja who had previously employed a similar kind of weapon. I use it as a weapon to enhance my wind-style ninjutsu. Since I passed the exams, I haven't been forced to use it at all, but if these negotiations go well, who knows? Maybe you too will get to see it in action someday, though I really hope not. With honesty, Naruto answered. A ninja isn't supposed to give away their secrets like that, Naruto. Kun, I thought Kakashi would have taught you better. Itachi chastised. You'll discover that, in contrast to what you're used to, I'm quite the unconventional ninja. Being aware of what to expect can occasionally work against you as a ninja because it makes you less prepared for the unexpected. In a cryptic reply, Naruto said, Stop trying to sound clever and tell us what the hell you want. Kisame spoke angrily. Please lead me to your leader so we can negotiate. I think I can remove the Kyuubi from myself without dying, as I mentioned earlier. I simply require a little more time. Said Naruto. After you remove the Kyuubi, what will you do with it? Could you just give it to us? Itachi questioned warily. Obviously not. I'm releasing him. It will still be up to you guys to find him. So why would we grant you the desired amount of time? We don't seem to stand to gain anything by holding off until you finish your jutsu. Kisame quarreled. Are you guys aware of the organization known as the Bloodline? The two were shocked into silence when Naruto asked, wondering aloud what this mysterious organization, which even Zetsu and Konan were finding difficult to keep an eye on, had to do with it. They had no idea this would happen. I am the leader and founder of that organization. When Naruto suddenly turned around, the two Akatsuki partners fell even more into a shocked silence. Even the usually unflappable Uchiha was taken aback, his eyes expanding to epic proportions. I'm sure you're starting to see why these negotiations are taking place. Attacking me will put you at risk of a bloodline war. You will not win this war, I assure you, and even if you do, the losses you incur will be so great that the Akatsuki will unavoidably dissolve as an organization. Both my allies and I are fiercely protective of one another. To exact revenge on me, they will pursue you to the ends of the planet, and vice versa. Naruto continued where he left off after providing an explanation and pausing briefly to give the information time to register. Nevertheless, I would prefer to stay out of trouble with the Akatsuki. After I remove the Kyuubi, there won't be any need for the Bloodline and the Akatsuki to interact in any way because the Bloodline has no interest in the Biju and won't get in the way of your objectives. We will squander time and needlessly exhaust our financial and human resources in a war. But a peace agreement will meet the needs of both of us. What then do you say? Permit me to talk to your leader, please. Naruto inquired nicely. No, we will not let you speak to leader, but we will pass on your message. Itachi said. So, even though he had earlier promised to take me to their leader, meeting with them is now off limits? Since I'm a clone, there's no point in deceiving me into going with them, so I suppose he told the original whatever he needed to get him to go. Replica Naruto used an analytical mind. How will I know what your leader has decided? Without bothering to draw attention to the contradictions in the genocidal Uchiha's answer, Naruto questioned. Our intelligence officer also serves as our messenger. In all likelihood he will be sent to deliver the message, failing of which then assume that negotiations have failed. Kisame answered. Very well then, I look forward to hearing from your messenger. Saying that, Naruto vanished in a cloud of smoke. I found that to be pretty unsettling. Isn't this Uzumaki Naruto quite the peculiar Jinchuriki? We were mistaken to believe that he was more like his father. He might develop into a significant pain in our side. A man that resembled a plant spoke as his body stuck out from a nearby tree. The man had two distinct personalities and voices, a face and body that were two different colors, and it looked as though two separate people had been combined. He also appeared to have a Venus fly trap around his upper body. The man did not appear to be carrying any visible weapons on him, despite donning an Akatsuki cloak and uniform. Identical to his father? Do you know the dad of that little shit? Who is this guy? Kisame frowned slightly and asked. The late Yondaime Hokage Namikaze Minato, otherwise known as the Yellow Flash of Konoha. Kisame was surprised by Zetsu's response, but he was also embarrassed because, in retrospect, it was clear that all Jinchuriki were connected to a cage or other prominent member of the ninja village in one way or another. There was also the obvious similarity between the man and the blonde Jinchuriki. Itachi? Did you realize this right away? Kisame questioned with outrage. Well, he does look like a carbon copy of Yondaime Sama after all. Itachi answered succinctly, trying his hardest to hide his surprise that Akatsuki knew about the secret at all given the lengths Konoha had gone to keep it a secret. Still, he couldn't understand why he was surprised that Madara knew it all, especially since he knew Madara was involved in the Kyuubi attack 12 years prior. I'll deliver the message to the leader and let you know when I get back, or the leader might call you in. Given his meticulous nature, he is likely to seek your input during the decision-making process. Zetsu spoke in a dual voice that sounded almost like it was coming from a demon. All right, we'll wait for your return and, in the interim, we'll keep traveling north to rest and recover until we receive more instructions. Come on, Kisame, let's go. As far as Itachi was concerned, it wasn't out of the question that one day he might find himself in a situation where he felt obligated to kill his partner for whatever reason that might arise in the future. Kisame dutifully obeyed his partner's orders, for the time being at least. After all, this is the same man who had killed all of his previous comrades for one reason or another. What do you think about all of this, Pain? Madara questioned in a menacing, deep voice. He is an average height man who leans slightly toward being tall. He is wearing an orange mask with a spiral design on the right side that has just one eye hole. He's wearing the standard Akatsuki uniform and has short, black hair that is spiky. Pain, Zetsu, and Konan were the other three people in the meeting with him at the top floor of the tallest building in Omegakure no Sato. Huh, Uzumaki Naruto? He's certainly one of a kind. Pain trailed off, pondering. He has a tall build and a body designed for both power and speed. He's the fabled and legendary Rinnegan of the Sage of the Six Paths, with orange, spiky hair and metal. Gray, purple eyes ringed around the pupils. He has 3 stubs across his nose, a labrae piercing beneath his lips, and 3 piercings on each ear, among other metallic piercings all over his face. He is dressed in blue ninja pants, white leg warmers, and a long black cloak with red clouds on it, just like all other Akatsuki members. He's wearing blue ninja sandals and doesn't appear to be carrying any obvious weapons. You cannot seriously be thinking about accepting this farce of a deal, are you, Pain? Konan asked in a tone that only Pain could hear, but it was clear that she was asking with incredulity. She has orange eyes, dark blue hair, and the smoothest, creamiest skin imaginable. She is an incredibly gorgeous woman, almost angelic in appearance. She has the most exquisite and well-groomed body, which is evident even though she is dressed in the traditional Akatsuki cloak. Similar to her leader and partner, she doesn't appear to be carrying any overt weapons. Whether this is because they're hidden or because she doesn't need any is a different matter. I really am, in fact. I'm interested to see if Uzumaki Naruto will be successful, because if he is, maybe he could set a precedent for how we handle Jinchuriki going forward. If Jinchuriki knew they wouldn't be dying at the end of the extraction, I'm sure a good number of them would be willing to part with their tenants. Pain answered. What guarantee do you have that the Uzumaki child will share the secrets of his jutsu with us? Konan asked. We could just hire him to do the work for us. Alternatively, we could extend an invitation to him to become a member of the Akatsuki. There will be no need for conflict between the two organizations if he is no longer a Jinchuriki. He is a person who values peace above all else. He would prefer to try to solve issues peacefully rather than by going to war. This is demonstrated by the way he reached out to us. If he doesn't divulge his secrets, he will eventually run into the scenario that he initially attempted to avoid, a conflict between Akatsuki and the Bloodline. He can only stop that by either joining us or disclosing the details of his jutsu. Pain proceeded to detail his plan. That looks like a very sensible strategy. How does Madara-sama think? Zetsu inquired. I don't think we should give Uzumaki Naruto any time or leeway, and I don't think Akatsuki should compromise or negotiate over the Jinchuriki. Given that he is the son of Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina, his potential is really horrifying. I think it would be best to use all of Akatsuki's might at this point, while he is still relatively young and feeble, said Madara. And while we are gathering the other Biju, where and how would you suggest that we contain the Kyuubi? Do I need to remind you that the Kyuubi can only be sealed into the statue one last time? Conan asked in a condescending manner, causing Madara to slightly narrow the one eye that was visible due to Conan's rude tone of voice. All right, do as you please, Pain, but don't say I didn't warn you. If Naruto starts to cause you trouble, I'll expect you to handle him directly. Saying this, Madara vanished into a void in space and time that appeared to come from his one visible eye. He doesn't appear overly happy. I'll go check to make sure he doesn't take any hasty action. Zetsu spoke as he submerged himself entirely in the ground, losing his physical form as well as the ability to use his chakra. Are you sure about this, Pain? Conan worriedly inquired. Yes, I am. It's a good thing that the Bloodline will not wage war on Uzumaki Naruto, even if he cannot be coerced into sharing his jutsu or joining the Akatsuki. It permits us to carry out our mission without interference. More than any of you realize right now, Conan, that is a really positive thing. Pain answered. I see. Regardless of how things work out, you have my undying support. Conan reaffirmed her dedication and allegiance. I know. What? Although I always knew you were a moron, Jiraiya, you have truly elevated your level of ignorance if you believe I'm returning to that godforsaken village. When Tsunade yelled angrily and shocked the entire bar into silence, the restaurant owner became enraged and prepared to throw her out of the business. Fortunately, he soon realized who had caused the outburst and wisely chose to act as though he hadn't heard anything. With her enormous breasts and long blonde hair, Tsunade is an extremely attractive woman that Naruto could genuinely claim to have seen. She was far more attractive than the elderly hag that most people imagined to see when they heard the name, Senju Tsunade. She seemed to be in excellent physical shape, with all the curves in the right places. Tsunade, it's time to assume your rightful role as Godem Hokage. The village needs you. That necklace was intended for you the entire time, which is why Dan and Nawaki were unable to wear it. See, don't you? You were meant to be the Hokage, the one chosen to take over from your grandfather. Jiraiya stated with assurance. I'm never going back to that hellhole. Eventually, Tsunade said something, which was actually pretty disappointing because it had seemed like she was giving the Toad Sanin's words some serious thought. Can you stop making things difficult for us for just 1 second, old lady? What did you call this little brat with a snotty nose? Where did you find this suicidal child, Jiraiya, anyhow? Before Naruto could say anything more, Tsunade snapped and unleashed a powerful surge of murderous intent. Listen, dear, we are running out of time for your foolishness. Put an end to your childlike behavior and join us. It's really that easy, either you voluntarily join us or we forcibly remove you. It's time to reimburse the village for your expenses. Matter of factly speaking, Naruto seemed to be downplaying how difficult it is to force a Sannin to do anything against their will. Huh? Take me by force? I hope you give it a shot. Before you even came near me, Shizune would manhandle you. Tsunade spoke dismissively, feeling a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach at what seemed to be Naruto's evil incarnate appearance on his face. How much of that are you willing to wager? Are you prepared to risk everything to return to the village and assume the role of Hokage? Let's say that if I win, you return to Konoha and take on the role of Godem Hokage, and if I lose, I take full responsibility for all the debt you have managed to accrue thus far. It seems like a fair deal, doesn't it? Naruto questioned, smirking mischievously. You've got yourself a deal. With stars in her eyes, Tsunade spoke, her heart doing a lot of flip-flops, an extremely early victory lap happening inside her mind and heart. She was internally jubilant at the chance to trick this poor, innocent child that Jiraiya brought with him. Shizune is a ninja at the Jonin level who has trained under a Sannin for roughly 15 years. Given that a genin like Naruto wouldn't stand a chance, Tsunade's haste in accepting the deal is understandable. She is unaware of how unusual this circumstance is, though. Here, we are discussing a genin who has defeated the demon of the mist Momochi Zabuza and copy ninja Hitaki Kakashi. This matchup is pretty much a surefire loss for Shizune. Observing from the sidelines, Jiraiya and Tsunade eagerly anticipated their students' virtual brawl, as they had each located a suitable location outside of the village for their apprentices to spar. However, this circumstance has given me a fascinating opportunity. I will at last be able to witness the full extent of Naruto's abilities. Jiraiya anticipated this thought. Shizune nay. Chan, this defeat is a reflection of me, not of your ability or strength as a ninja. So please try not to take it personally. Naruto remarked with a smug yet lighthearted grin. I never underestimate an opponent, and I know what it means to be trained by a Sannin, so don't expect to catch me by surprise, Naruto. Kun, I'm prepared for anything and everything. With a determined expression, Shizune spoke. But you're definitely not ready for this. Though for different reasons, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune were all shocked and surprised when Naruto formed an unusually small Rasengan on his right hand. Shizune and Tsunade were taken aback by Naruto's ability to develop the jutsu at such a young age because they could easily identify it as the Yondaime Hokage's jutsu, which Jiraiya also frequently employed. Although Jiraiya had witnessed Naruto form a normal sized Rasengan after he taught him the jutsu, he was taken aback by how small it actually was. That Naruto would make such a small Rasengan, even if he wasn't going for the kill, surprised him. The jutsu of Rasengan? Outstanding, even though your advanced jutsu appears to be lacking in size and power, Naruto. Kun, you must be some sort of genius to be able to form it. You'll undoubtedly improve with time, but you're not yet prepared to face someone like me. To begin with, what good is it to form that jutsu at such a distance? I mean, wouldn't it have made more sense to form the jutsu after getting to know me? You've just taken away the SERP component. Shizune fell back in shock as Naruto pulled off the unimaginable, throwing the Rasengan at his opponent as it hurtled toward him at a moderately fast speed. It is the Rasengan. However, how? Thoughts of amazement turned to disappointment for Jiraiya soon after, as the Rasengan appeared to vanish. Did it fade? Was it that he lacked the control or the chakra to keep it going? However, I have never before heard of anyone, not even the fourth himself, throwing the Rasengan. As Shizune readied herself to strike back and put an end to this farce of a fight, she contemplated. Baka. How on earth do you think you're doing this? How long have I been training with the Rasengan, in your opinion? You don't think I've tried this before? Shizune was flung away at a high speed, her whole body spinning around uncontrollably as she was flung away, crashing violently on the surface as a huge crater formed where she landed, a great distance away. Jiraiya trailed off in shock, eyes wide and mouth hanging as he looked on in astonishment. What the devil did I just do? Was it an attack by the enemy? Tsunade inquired while frantically scanning the area for indications of an enemy. An enemy attack does not occur. That was Shizune Chan and my disappearing Rasengan communicating. It is a Rasengan that, as its name implies, disappears and then resurfaces when it comes into contact with an enemy. Don't you think this is a fantastic assassination attempt? Don't worry, though. Judging by its size, you could probably tell that it was a severely underpowered Rasengan. Nay. Chan Shizune will survive. Naruto gave a succinct and clear explanation. Rasengan disappearing? How on earth did you manage that? How on earth did you manage to make it disappear, let alone make it fly? Jiraiya questioned in shock. The Rasengan is fused with my wind element. Deadpan Naruto made fun of himself. More significantly, Tsunade. Dono, you have lost the wager. You can't break your word to me again. Your pupil has lost the battle. You're going to come back to the village and take on the role of Godem Hokage. With a tone of deathly seriousness, Naruto said. Go. Your medical knowledge is needed for your student. Since the disappearing Rasengan is more potent than the regular Rasengan, even a tiny one like the one I just used could have deadly effects. As soon as Shizune Chan is well enough to travel, we will depart. After forfeiting his fight with Hyuga Neji at the end of the Chunin exams, a decision that was met with jeers and protests from the fans who had been waiting to see the Hyuga genius take a sabering to the demon child, Naruto gave commands with the air of a senior member of the current Shinobi, even though he was only a mere genin. You better not have killed her, otherwise she definitely won't come back with us. Jiraiya remarked while observing Tsunade chase after Shizune while wearing a concerned expression. She is the greatest medical ninja in the elemental nations, on top of the fact that I refrained from intervening as much as possible. I will have to seriously consider whether Shizune Chan has the will to live if she passes away even in those circumstances. Naruto shot back. You're very cold and cynical, you're nothing like your. Just before he could reveal the information, Jiraiya realized that it had already been revealed, albeit accidentally, roughly 5 years prior. My what? Pretending to be ignorant, Naruto inquired. Your late sibling apprentice. Eventually, Jiraiya responded, hoping that Naruto wouldn't catch him indiscreet. He was sweating profusely. You refer to the Hokage of Yondaime? Minato Namikaze, huh? He was undoubtedly one of the best ninjas in the village and was highly regarded. He has set a very high standard, and I aspire to one day surpass him in many ways. I have a lot of respect for that man. Naruto spoke in a somber tone, and Jiraiya turned to face him in shock since he had never seen this side of the blonde Uzumaki. It felt, for the first time in a long time, like there was hope for his godson after all, a sentiment that, as he would soon discover, couldn't be more untrue. Sasuke, what's this I hear about you not wanting to talk to anyone? They say you chased everyone out and refused to talk unless I came over to see you? Honestly, I'm baffled. I didn't think that you liked me that much. I didn't think you liked me at all. Naruto replied with a sheepish sigh. Sasuke was all over the answers to his questions at the moment, a lot of resentment and jealousy radiating out of him in waves. What happened to Itachi? How did you survive? Why was he after you? Sasuke demanded to know. With a twinkle in his eye, Naruto said, "Ah, so that's why you called me?" I figured as much. Sasuke gritted his teeth in annoyance and rage. With impatience, Sasuke exclaimed, "Just answer me." Well, Jiraiya. Sensei drove them off with the toad mouth bind jutsu. It didn't really seem they were in that much of a bind though, it seemed. Way too easy, too good to be true in fact. Cryptically responded Naruto. Sasuke, acting haughtily, demanded, "Why were they after you?" As if the blonde Uzumaki had no choice but to respond to his inquiries, which of course couldn't be further from the truth. Naruto questioned retortively, "You remember what I told you guys during the wave mission, don't you, about my demon?" Retorting, Sasuke seemed to be breathing a sigh of relief as if a heavy weight had been lifted off his shoulders. So, Itachi wants the 9 tails? He wants to further boost his power by controlling the 9 tails with his eyes? In other words, they're not exactly after you per se, just the thing that is inside of you? Naruto trailed off, leaving Sasuke to piece together the rest on his own. You don't have to sound so relieved, you know. Getting a biju ripped out of you means almost certain death. Besides, we don't even know what the Akatsuki want with the biju now, do we? According to our intel, there are approximately 9 members in the organization, which just so happens to be the same number of biju. Where did he even obtain such intelligence? Sasuke considered this, but chose not to approach the blonde Uzumaki. He reasoned that if the intelligence came from Jiraiya, it was likely from another source, and if it didn't come from that source, Naruto would probably have no interest in sharing it with him or anyone else. Sasuke asked, almost certain that the Dobi would be perfectly willing to answer in the affirmative when it came to the question, "Are you suggesting that each member will get their very own biju?" I'm saying it's a possibility, and if it is the case, then I'd imagine Itachi would be a whole lot more difficult for you to defeat with a biju enhancing his already amazing physical gifts. Naruto clarified. Aware that Itachi was terminally ill and that Kabuto had learned about the effects of the Mangekyo Sharingan from Orochimaru, Naruto reasoned internally, becoming the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, or any other biju for that matter, would likely mean an instant cure for his illness and would probably stop the degeneration of his eyesight and also repair his eyesight indefinitely. But becoming a Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi is something that no Uchiha has ever done before, not even Uchiha Madara dared try. Even so, it is only half as powerful as the original Kyuubi because it is only half of the Kyuubi. I guess it's possible for Uchiha to become the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Additionally, there's no assurance that Itachi will decide to become the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki or that he will be granted permission to do so. For all we know, he could obtain any other biju, assuming, of course, that the Akatsuki don't have some other, more sinister plan in mind for the biju than to become Jinchuriki themselves. Naruto thought warily. Naruto is correct. Itachi is miles, even a million miles, ahead of me already. He will be unbeatable if he gains the strength of a biju. However, Jiraiya overcame Gaara and the one-tailed biju, forcing Itachi and Kisame, 2s rank ninja, to retreat, along with Itachi himself. If even one of these Sannin can pull off such feats, then they truly are something else. The Sandaime Hokage was vanquished and killed by Orochimaru as well. Sasuke frowned deeply in concentration as he considered his options. Naruto is powerful already, and he's currently being trained by one such Sannin. Perhaps I should take Orochimaru's offer after all. Sasuke's eyes widened in shock at how well the blonde Uzumaki read him, and Naruto said perceptively, I wonder what's going on in that head of yours. you better not be thinking about joining that snake freak. He's only interested in taking over your body, you know. Is it really that clear? Am I really that dependable? Sasuke pondered. Patience is a virtue, Sasuke. It's not just about becoming strong enough to defeat Itachi, you also need to have the necessary battle experience to do it. You could become stronger than him and still lose soundly because of your haste and lack of experience. You can't just go charging at him recklessly like you did the other time. Controlled aggression is what you need. You also must not allow your hate to dictate and control your actions. You must use hate as a weapon, not the other way around. Sagely, Naruto. What the hell do you know? Don't talk down to me like you know anything, you low-life peasant. You never had a family, you were orphaned from the start. You don't know what it is like to have everything and then be forced to watch over and over and over and over as all of it is taken away from you. You don't know what it is like to be betrayed by the person you loved and admired the most. Don't talk to me like you know anything. Sasuke yelled with rage, inhaling if he had only completed a marathon. Naruto trailed off as he thought about the Sandaime Hokage and his hate and despise for the man who betrayed and deceived him in the worst way possible. It's true, Sasuke. I never had any family from the start, so I couldn't possibly fathom how you must have felt, or must feel day in and day out as you walk your path on this cursed world. However, I'm not entirely ignorant. I know what it feels like to be betrayed by the person you loved and admired the most. I know that feeling all too well, the man said. Who? Huh? Was Naruto's cerebral reply, interrupted momentarily from his reflections by Sasuke's voice. Sasuke asked inquisitively, who is the person you loved and admired, the person who betrayed you? His curiosity quickly turned to surprise and caution as Naruto swiftly broke through several hand seals before enacting a barrier around the hospital room they were in. With confusion, Sasuke asked, what did you just do? Naruto explained, privacy barrier. It prevents anyone from spying on us whether via ocular or auditory sensation. In other words, no one can see or hear us right now. Sasuke swallowed a large lump out of habit, honestly feeling uneasy about Naruto's actions at the moment and wondering if he was going to be murdered or what the hell was going on. Sasuke asked apprehensively, trying his best to hide how terrified he was at the time. What's going on, Naruto? Naruto deadpanned, the person I loved and admired a lot was the Sandaime Hokage. Sasuke's eyes widened in shock, unable to comprehend why Naruto would despise someone so nice and adored. Sasuke's eyes widened as he started to comprehend what Naruto was getting at. You seem surprised? But try to imagine the Itachi you knew before his betrayal, and compare him to the Itachi you know him to be now. I'd imagine there must be a very profound contrast, right? Naruto asked retortively. You're saying that the kind old man that we all know does not exist? That it was just a persona that he maintained? Sasuke was bewildered. Exactly. Sasuke, you have seen the kind of life I have lived, have you not? What you probably don't know is that, just like Gaara, I faced multiple assassination attempts on my life growing up, to the point that I was hospitalized almost every week. My extreme regenerative abilities are the only reason I am still alive as it is. This all happened under the Sandaime Hokage's watch too. Growing up as an orphan, living alone, raising myself with a small monthly stipend, a stipend that was absolutely worthless because everyone charges the demon brat 4 to 5 times the usual prices or outright refuses to sell to him. Tell me, Sasuke, do you think that is the kind of life anyone, much less the son of the Yondaime Hokage who sacrificed his life for the village, should have to live? Firmly. Sasuke stammered, Son of the Yondaime? As he stared dumbfoundedly at the blonde Uzumaki. Now that things were beginning to make sense, Sasuke wondered how in the world he hadn't noticed the resemblance before. I see why he's so powerful. Sasuke thought angrily, fighting a strong urge to choke the blonde Uzumaki to death. All this time I've been beating myself up for being outdone by a nobody, and all this time he was practically royalty in Konoha. No, in the entire ninja world. Not just that, but last known living member of the great Uzumaki clan of the Whirlpool Tides. Naruto continued. Sasuke questioned incredulously, the what? It's no surprise you don't know about them, why would you? We have been erased from history, the Sandaime Hokage went to great lengths to ensure that. Just know that the Uzumaki were a clan with a reputation and legacy similar to that of the Uchiha and the Senju. Our specialty were the sealing and barrier arts, but that was not all there was to us, of course. Our other traits were chakra, sensory, and perception, and we have an unnaturally strong life force, to the point that many members of our clan can live up to between 2 to 4 times the lifespan of a normal human. Our chakra reserves are quite frankly ridiculous. The most uncommon thing you will find is an Uzumaki running out of chakra in a battle. We also have great healing and regeneration and great physical strength and durability. That's not even the end of it, we also have special chakra properties that allow us to tame and control Biju, which is why all 3 of Konoha's Jinchuriki have hailed from the Uzumaki clan. The first one was the Shodem Hokage's wife, Uzumaki Mito. The second one was the Yondaime Hokage's wife, my mother, Uzumaki Kushina, and then I became the next Jinchuriki. Naruto explained in great detail, Sasuke feeling like his head was about to pop because of the information overload. Of course I knew nothing of this, I was made to believe I was just a nobody, in order to make it easier to be manipulated and controlled. I was made to suffer loneliness and isolation, so that I can become needy and dependent. I was being groomed to become the Sandaime Hokage's puppet, the village's puppet. Kabuto. Sensei saved me from that fate. Naruto clarified. Sasuke questioned incredulously, Kabuto? That lame dweeb from the exams who failed 7 times. Haha. That Kabuto. Sensei, he really is the ultimate spy, isn't he? Sasuke, Kabuto. Sensei is a very strong and capable ninja, a fight between him and Kakashi. Sensei would be a 50. In fact, he was beating our new Hokage and her assistant handily before I intervened. Of course, one can argue that Tsunade Dono has been inactive for too long and was probably rusty, plus she had also developed hemophobia, a condition that Kabuto Sensei was also able to exploit, but still, it should tell you something that a Sannin and a Jonin were put at a considerable disadvantage against him. Also, both Tsunade Dono and Jiraiya Sensei said that he is at least Kakashi level, so there's that too. According to Naruto, Sasuke trailed off, unable to believe how completely skewed his perspective of the world had been up until this point. Had he been living in delusion all along? What else could he not understand? What more could his eyes not see? But Kabuto is a traitor, is he not? Is he not working with Orochimaru? I heard he tried to assassinate me when I was hospitalized. Sasuke was perplexed. Kabuto helped Orochimaru, and I helped Kabuto. Sensei, so I guess that makes me a traitor too, huh? But everyone has their reasons, just as the leaf betrayed me and my family first, it used and betrayed Kabuto. Sensei too, but that is a story for another day. Sasuke was cautioned by Naruto not to pronounce. Sasuke questioned warily, why are you telling me all of this? Because you are in the same boat as us, Sasuke. What you don't understand is that Itachi didn't just murder your entire clan, it was his mission to murder your entire clan, a mission from the Konoha higher-ups. Naruto took a deep breath and told Sasuke everything he knew about the events leading up to the Uchiha massacre. From the clan's long history dating back to Madara's time to the moment that Itachi betrayed and massacred the clan, Sasuke's reaction was one of shock, disbelief, and denial. Watching his teammate fall apart in front of his eyes, Naruto thought with a menacing smirk, Kabuto. Sensei, you really are the ultimate spy. This information has been very useful. The nature of this conversation wasn't random at all. Kabuto had slipped up when Naruto, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune clashed with him and his master, Orochimaru, probably on purpose, leading Naruto to believe that Jiraiya wasn't the reason Naruto was powerful, but rather him. Sasuke didn't know this, but the reason Naruto hadn't been present when he woke up was because he was once again undergoing a rigorous interrogation. Given that Kabuto was an ally of Konoha's most despised enemy, it is understandable that Naruto would also become suspicious, which is why he was interrogated upon his return. Naruto knew that the walls were closing in on him, that Kabuto had caused this, and that he had full knowledge of the consequences of his actions. Nevertheless, Naruto had planned for this possibility, and his strategy was fairly straightforward. Reveal the truth about the Uchiha massacre to Sasuke. This would certainly cause Sasuke to turn on Sasuke, and most likely cause him to flee to Orochimaru, which would divert attention from Naruto and place it on Sasuke, the last of the Uchiha clan. Konoha would not be able to afford to further isolate their only resident Jinchuriki after that kind of loss coupled with their losses during the war. Besides, having another Uchiha as an enemy and losing the last living member would be a big blow to them. Sasuke's defection would certainly take a lot of heat off of his shoulders, and in fact Konoha would direct a lot of that heat towards Orochimaru, and by extension, Kabuto. Sensei. Naruto chuckled, almost certain that Kabuto must have predicted this outcome because, after all, no one knew him better than his own sensei. Hey, Kabuto, you sly bastard. You really played me, didn't you, sensei? He asked himself. Is it possible that Kabuto sensei was counting on me reacting this way so that they can get Sasuke to join Orochimaru sooner? With everything at stake, Naruto thought somewhat casually, well, I guess I'll just have to hope Sasuke has some sort of plan himself to avoid being taken over by that snake freak. He has a 3-Tomoe Sharingan and unlike Kakashi, he is a full-blooded Uchiha. He just needs experience now and to continue growing physically. Naruto's only problem was with Sasuke's cursed seal. He could break the seal and access the Stage 2 version of Sasuke, which would make him much more powerful, by removing the portion of Orochimaru's soul that was sealed inside it. Of course. How could I have been so stupid? If I help Sasuke to reach full curse mode level 2, then he won't have to join Orochimaru. He can just leave and go on his own way. But if he doesn't join Orochimaru, he will be hunted by both Konoha and Otogakure. Will he be able to survive that? No. Actually, that's the kind of struggle he needs to develop and become stronger, strong enough to defeat Itachi. Also, the experience he will gain by eluding and fighting Hunter Nin will be crucial for that inevitable showdown. Naruto thought logically before making his decision. With a menacing gleam in his eyes, Naruto thought, plus, this might get Orochimaru off my case too. He'll be too busy chasing after Sasuke to come after me. Who knows, maybe Sasuke can take both Orochimaru and Itachi off the table for me. Hear me out, Sasuke. Itachi is not a perfect person. Itachi made the decision to murder his entire family even though it was only a mission. Family always comes first, so I never would have chosen that. With conviction, Naruto spoke, startling Sasuke out of his reverie. Why are you telling me everything, W? Why? With his eyes full of tears, Sasuke asked with suspicion. If I were to hate and plot the Sandame's murder for lying to me and keeping secrets, then it would be hypocritical of me, wouldn't it? Then again, I would be doing the same to you. In a retort, Naruto questioned. Anyway, Sasuke, I assisted Orochimaru and Kabuto in creating and perfecting the seal around your neck. I am aware of how to assist you in mastering it and obtaining the second seal version. You will be able to use it without experiencing pain or discomfort, and it will greatly increase your power. I'm not sure if you will stay faithful to Konoha or if you will turn against him after learning the truth, but you will undoubtedly require this power regardless of your choice. With haste, Naruto said, we're going to do that right now so that when I'm done, you can access the full power of that seal without the negative side effects. Why do you assist me? Sasuke questioned dutifully. Itachi is my opponent as well. However, if I were to kill him myself, assuming I could, you would undoubtedly start to despise me. I understand that Itachi's passing is in both of our best interests and I'm not attempting to obstruct your quest for vengeance. Which is why I am assisting you. Naruto answered, I also feel your pain. Konoha has really taken a toll on us and our families. Sasuke trailed off with a thoughtful, I see. Are you prepared? Can I begin now, with your permission? Naruto inquired. Now let's get started. Eventually, Sasuke answered, her conviction so great that Naruto almost believed a physical body would emerge. All right, then. However, before we get going, just to let you know, Itachi and Orochimaru have allies, regardless of how strong you are. Orochimaru has Kabuto Sensei and the remainder of Otogakure no Sato, while Itachi has Kisame and the remainder of Akatsuki. To help you, you're going to need to find some talented allies. No man is an island, Sasuke, Naruto counseled, realizing that if Sasuke were to be captured and or killed before he could kill Itachi, then all of his efforts would be for naught. Alright, so what will you do? Will you remain here in spite of everything? Curious, Sasuke asked. I will depart, but not just yet. Like you, I have my own goals and a path I want to take. We never know when our paths will meet, that's the strange thing about life. However, if you intend to depart as well, I hope you are ready for what lies ahead. Do you recall the lives that Haku and Zabuza led? It's definitely not an easy life. I'm willing to endure any kind of torment in order to exact my retribution on Itachi, after which I'll pursue Konoha. Sasuke uttered a fierce sentence. Naruto grinned to himself in his head, well, that's what I wanted to hear. I hope you succeed, Sasuke, do all the dirty work for me. Very well then, let us begin. After 2 months. Everything had gone as expected. Though Sasuke had stayed longer than Naruto had expected, it wasn't a train wreck. In fact, Sasuke had made a wise decision to stay in Konoha for a full month prior to defecting, as he wanted to fully train with the Cursed Seal and become proficient with its powers. Sasuke had chosen to study his father's scrolls on the Kenjutsu sword techniques of the Uchiha clan, so Naruto had also been invited for a few sparring sessions, especially for Kenjutsu practice. Naruto found it amusing how shocked Sasuke was to discover that his gunbai was, in fact, an unbreakable Kenjutsu weapon capable of slicing through opponents and deflecting attacks by channeling food and chakra into it. Since Naruto wasn't using wind-release chakra to bolster the weapon's strength, it could also be used for brute force. The strength and durability of the gunbai came from Naruto's application of strength, enhancing sealing jutsu to the weapon. Sasuke wasn't aware of all the other qualities that Naruto's gunbai possessed, but what was revealed to him, even in small doses, was enough to make the young Uchiha feel both impressed and jealous. Sasuke had, however, made remarkable progress throughout the month in every area. Without using any of the curse seal levels, his speed, taijutsu, kenjutsu, and Sharingan proficiency all increased quickly. After gaining access to those, Sasuke turned into a significant threat. Naruto was confident that, at his current skill level, Sasuke could easily defeat each of the Sound 3 opponents he faced in the second part of the Chunin exams in 1-on-1 battles. Though he wasn't sure if Sasuke could defeat all 3 of them simultaneously the way he did, he was confident that if Sasuke continued to grow at this rate, he would be able to accomplish that feat by the end of the year. Who knew, maybe even this month. Even so, it had been 2 weeks, actually, 4 weeks, since Sasuke's defection. However, at Naruto's suggestion, Sasuke had left behind a re-enforced shadow clone, which had survived for 2 weeks. The clone had survived this long because it had engaged in no strenuous activity at all, content to be observed strolling through the village and taking long, non-chakra infused jogs. 2 weeks had passed when the shadow clone dispelled, and Sasuke was nowhere to be found, leaving no trail for the Inuzuka or Aburame trackers to pursue. Chakra sensors were clearly also out of the question because Sasuke had already left and they were unaware of his unique chakra signature. It was a panic in the village, and Naruto relished every moment of it. Nobody gave a damn about what the now rogue Uchiha was up to because they were too preoccupied fussing over his disappearance. But from the sound of it, someone clearly missed the memo, because Naruto had been feeling a powerful chakra following him since morning. Although the individual was making an effort to remain hidden, Naruto was simply too skilled at sensing chakras, and the individual's chakra was exceptionally potent, stronger than any chakra he had come across in Konoha. Additionally, his or her reserves were absurdly high. Naruto acknowledged that he didn't have much of an appetite to fight this person, whoever they might be, but he also acknowledged that he didn't have an option. That's the reason he was currently deep in the forest of death. It was probably best to fight this person, whoever they were, in a location he was familiar with and where their fight would not be interrupted, no matter how it turned out. After exerting so much effort to relieve himself of the pressure, the last thing he needed was to draw attention to himself. While the attacker knew his cover had been blown because he was staring directly in the direction that he was hiding, Naruto said to no one in particular, "You may come out now." However, because the attacker had previous intelligence, he already knew that his target was a strong sensory type, and that his cover had probably been compromised long ago. A tall boy emerged from behind a large tree that he had been hiding behind and said, "Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. Prepare yourself, I'm here to assassinate you." The boy appeared to be a teenager, perhaps in the range of 15 to 16 years old. He had a tall, robust build, but he also had a somewhat lean build. It was a body designed for brute force, strength, and agility. In addition to having 2 dots on his forehead and long white hair, he had smooth, pale skin. But Naruto could tell by his attire, more precisely, by the purple rope fastened around his waist, that this man was connected to Orochimaru, and more especially, to the Sound 5 elite guard. You know, it's not much of an assassination if you just walk out and announce your intentions like that. Naruto said casually. "Kagaya Kimimaro, right? I can tell by your appearance. The fact that you're here must mean that Kabuto was finally able to cure you. It also must mean he was too late, otherwise you would have been devoured by Orochimaru. You were his desired vessel if I am not mistaken." Naruto replied with accuracy. With a hint of menace, Kimimaro questioned Orochimaru. "Sama was right, you know too much. You are a loose end that needs to be stitched up or cut off. Which one will it be, Namikaze? This is awful, really awful. Kabuto. Sensei said that this guy was crucial to the Yondaime Keisage's assassination going well. Indeed, Kabuto. Sensei believes that if this guy had been well and present during the invasion, the Konoha invasion would have been a total success. This isn't going to be easy at all, Naruto thought warily. This guy is really strong. Naruto countered, much to Kimimara's surprise, not only about the offer itself, but also surprised by Naruto's implication that they were related by blood. Join you or die, huh? Well, I choose neither, of course. If anything, I have a counter offer for you. Why not join me? You are just the kind of candidate that we look for in the bloodline. I also happen to be the only member who doesn't have a partner. It would make me happy to have a member of our sibling clan as a trusted ally. Kimimaro questioned simply but curiously, what are you talking about? People talk about the progenitor of ninjutsu, the sage of the six paths, Otsutsuki Hagoromo, but they never talk about his brother, Otsutsuki Hamura. Kimimaro, the Kagaya clan, the Uzumaki clan, and the Hyuga clan all descend from one Otsutsuki Hamura. He had 3 children, who would later become the Uzumaki, Kagaya, and Hyuga clans. The Hyuga, obviously, inherited his ocular powers, the Kagaya clan inherited his body, and the Uzumaki inherited his chakra and life force, and also his talent for Fuinjutsu AMD barrier ninjutsu. In other words, Kimimaro, you and I should be working together, not against each other. With conviction. In addition to letting his curiosity get the better of him, Kimimaro questioned, if the Kagaya, Hyuga, and Uzumaki descend from Hamura, then who descended from Hagoromo? He reasoned that Orochimaru Sama might find this kind of information useful. As if it were the most obvious thing in the world, Naruto responded, the Senju and the Uchiha clan, of course. Kimimaro, on the other hand, was becoming more and more confused. Based on the confusion on your face, I'm guessing you already knew, or are suspecting that Orochimaru is trying to recreate the power of the Sage of the Six Paths. In which case, you're probably wondering why then he wanted you and Sasuke instead of Sasuke and say, Tsunade. Well, any reasonable person would figure that if Hamura and Hagoromo had the powers that they did, and had the same parent, then their parent would likely have all of their abilities combined. So perhaps Orochimaru is not trying to get Hagoromo or Hamura's power, but their parents' power. Naruto clarified. With a hint of humor, Naruto remarked, of course it is entirely possible he doesn't know what the hell he is doing. Maybe he just likes your powers and likes the Sharingan and the Mokuton. Maybe it's all just a fluke. Kimimaro exclaimed, none of this matters. I've been ordered to kill you and return with your corpse. You're coming with me. And with that, he withdrew his arm's entire bone structure from his left palm, replacing the recently lost bones with new ones right away. Without even adopting a fighting stance, Kimimaro said, this is the only weapon I'll need to defeat you. Prepare yourself, Namikaze trash. This dance of the camellia will be the last thing you will ever see in your miserable life on this plane of existence. She appeared to be waiting for the blonde Uzumaki to initiate contact. I'm not really sure you know the meaning of the word assassination anymore. I mean, are you waiting for me to attack you first? What happens if I just make a run for it? What are you going to do then? Naruto chided. No answer? It wouldn't seem right for the Bloodline's leader to blow such a great opportunity, and he seems very confident in the information he has on me. Bloodline limits are very potent and versatile, and I already have 2 corpses from the Hyuga clan in store for the Shikatsumiku. By eliminating this individual and merging his DNA with my Uzumaki and Hyuga genetic makeup, I will be able to acquire Himura's abilities for myself. Pulling his gunbai off his back, Naruto readied himself for what might prove to be the hardest battle of his life since he faced Gatsu all those years ago. Win or lose, it's a risk worth taking, he thought, feeling both excited and cautious. With a sudden burst of speed, Naruto appeared, thinking, very well, let's do this. He feinted for a cross strike toward Kimimaro's side, but at the last second, he twisted his arms and swung downward with an overhead vertical strike. Pathetic. Kimimaro uttered in a tone of boredom, unimpressed by the Uzumaki Jinchuriki's quick reflexes and simple strategy as he raised his bone sword to avoid the gunbai. He made a grave error when the gunbai broke through his bone sword and struck him between the shoulder and the neck, destroying his clavicle and sending the bone user's entire body crashing into the ground. A massive shockwave erupted, scattering debris all over the place, and a massive crater was formed where Kimimaro's body was. The impact was so great that trees were toppled over and the entire area was rebuilt as a result of the shockwave. Naruto kept a watchful eye on his opponent even after taking him out in such a manner. He would leap to a safer distance and observe him from a close enough distance to be safe from surprise attacks. He always made it a point to never undervalue his opponents, and this one was no exception. Having studied the Uzumaki texts, he was aware of the Kagaya clan's body's exceptional strength and durability, even surpassing the absurdly strong Uzumaki bodies. Naruto thought, his chakra surged just before I connected with that blow, and despite all logic, this guy is still alive and kicking. Suddenly, Kimimaro, as if reading Naruto's mind, stopped playing possum and stood back up, well, on his left foot, as his entire right side, including his right foot, was mangled, with large portions of it missing entirely. With his entire right side completely mangled, Kimimaro asked in a calm and even tone, "How did you generate that much power? I wasn't aware super strength was one of your abilities." Naruto was in awe of Kimimaro's ability to heal injuries this severe, wondering if he himself could have done so had the roles been reversed. Despite this, black marks spread all over Kimimaro's body as the Curse Seal Level 1 activated. That is quite an impressive healing ability you have there. In any case, to answer your question, my gunbai is littered with strength and durability enhancing seals, that's why it is so strong and durable. It also has seals of my own creation, gravity seals. I drastically increased the gravity on the gunbai at the moment just before impact, which is why I was able to down you like that with just one move. If you were anyone else, you'd be dead now. Naruto said casually. I see. In that case, all I have to do is avoid guarding against your blows or outright getting hit by them. Your speed is unimpressive, so that won't be a problem for me, especially now that I'm in Curse Mode Level 1. Kimimaro replied. It goes without saying that saying Naruto was just a normal speedster was a huge exaggeration. The fact was that Naruto was exceptionally fast, even for a Jonin, much less a Genin, and he surpassed the speed of at least 90% of the Jonin in the Hidden Leaf. By comparing Naruto to himself, a cage-level ninja who was so highly regarded by Orochimaru, a Sannin and cage-level ninja himself, Kimimaro was merely judging him by his own standards and believing that he would have easily won the war against the Leaf had Kimimaro been well enough to participate in the war effort at the time. In addition, Kimimaro made the grave mistake of believing that Naruto's fighting prowess ended at level 2, just as it did with the Cursed Seal levels 1 and 2. Naturally, he might not have known this, since only Jirobo, Saken, Yukon, and Tayuya had witnessed the use of the Rasen Chakra no Yoroi and the Shunpo no Jutsu. Not only had Tayuya defected but he was also thought to be dead because the first three had perished in that battle and were unable to relay the intelligence. It was also not the only way for Naruto to become more physically strong. It was a kept secret in the bloodline that he was a flawless Jinchuriki because of his proficiency with the chakra chain technique, a jutsu that allowed him to absorb, convert, suppress, and control Biju chakra. Despite the lack of information, Kimimaro probably should have known better. However, this time, his exceptional talent and genius actually worked against him, as he was so accustomed to being superior to everyone else that he was unable to imagine anyone else being on the same level. This guy was able to casually follow my movements and react to them with extreme ease. Furthermore, he activated Curse Seal Level 1, meaning he will be even faster than before. I have worked tirelessly to improve my basic speed since my fight with the Sound 3. He now knows not to defend against my gunbai attacks, which exacerbates the situation. I suppose I'll have no choice but to use the Shunpo no Jutsu, Naruto thought logically and swiftly activated the technique. He did so just in time to see Kimimaro suddenly close the distance between them and form another bone sword in an attempt to pierce Naruto through the chest. You can only imagine how surprised he was when his bone struck nothing but air, and then Naruto materialized behind him precisely in his blind spot, swinging his gunblade downward once more, this time with twice the gravity and aiming for the head. But as massive bones that suspiciously resembled enormous ribs protruded from Kimimaro's back, he was forced to cancel both his attack and the gravity effect in order to bring his gunbai down to cover his entire body. The bones were so thick, so strong, so long, and so fast that even though Naruto was guarding against them, they sent him flying away quickly. Much to the astonishment of the bone user, Naruto did not crash head first into the last tree in the area as it appeared. Rather, the blonde Uzumaki flew upwards and started levitating in the air. He's flying, Kimimaro cautiously thought. Naturally, he was taken aback by the blonde Uzumaki's ability to fly, but that fact alone did not cause him to become overly concerned. Rather, what worried him was the plausible prospect that the blonde Uzumaki might suddenly take off from their fight and that he would be unable to stop him. He had never failed a mission in his life, so failure was not an option for him, not on a mission this important, and frankly, never in the past. I need to figure out a quick way to end this fight before he decides to back down. Kimimaro thought strategically, I'll have to use the dance of the clematis. His body completely transformed into his cursed seal level 2 mode, turning his skin grayish. Black and sprouting a long, dinosaur-like tail with large bones sticking out of it. The small also had thick, large bones sticking out of his lower and upper back. Damaged seal, level 2? That's the Earth's cursed seal, then. He appears to be a ferocious dinosaur, thought Naruto, disbelieving. How is that form supposed to give you an advantage? Even if you use that powerful dinosaur form to jump around, there's no way you'll be able to catch me. My wind style, God of the Sky technique, gives me the advantage in this situation. Naruto replied with a confident smirk. Does it now? Kimimaro shot back, pulling out his incredibly long spinal column in one smooth motion. Using Naruto's surprise, he quickly exploited the young Jinchuriki's disbelief by using the spinal column in the most unbelievable way possible, as a whip to catch the young Jinchuriki in the air and instantly wrap it around the young Jinchuriki's entire body. Kimimaro grinned confidently and said, How do you like my dance of the clematis, Vine? Now you can't zip around like the measly little fly you are. On the inside, though, he didn't feel nearly as assured as he was projecting. Granted, he was glad he'd caught the Yondaime Hokage in his brat before he could decide to take off from the fight, but things had not gone according to plan. One aspect of the clematis vine dance was its reliance on the opponent's flesh being pierced by the sharp edges of his vertebrae, which would prevent them from escaping once they were grasped. But before his vine could encircle his victim, the blonde Uzumaki suddenly developed strong, spiraling chakra armor that stopped the bone user's vine from penetrating his skin. The blonde Uzumaki stopped levitating and was now standing on the earth, naturally still wrapped in his vine, but he was still able to catch him. Although one would think that this would have pleased the bone user, in reality, it just confused the hell out of him because he couldn't figure out whether Uzumaki's landing on the surface was a part of a plan or a result of his inability to use the God of the Sky technique in conjunction with the chakra armor. This is my Rasen Chakra no Yoroi. It is the jutsu that defeated your comrades, the same jutsu that will defeat you. And yes, I have yet to figure out how to both fly and have this jutsu activated, that's why I'm on the ground without you having to pull me down. It would appear that even your super strong and super sharp bones are unable to penetrate this armor. If you cannot penetrate my armor, then you cannot inflict fatal injuries on me, and if you cannot do that, then you cannot win. Naruto said with accuracy. Kimimaro yelled, Don't get ahead yourself, you haven't seen my strongest attack yet. As he charged toward the blonde Uzumaki at speeds well above the average or even elite Jonin, his powerful, dinosaur-like structure enabling him to move at breakneck speed. Dance of the clematis, flower. Kimimaro exclaimed, trying to drill straight through Naruto's chest area with a massive drill that was growing over his left arm and spinning quickly. The drill was made entirely of extremely dense and razor-sharp bone. The attempt was in vain since Kimimaro's most powerful offensive jutsu broke almost as soon as it touched the chakra armor. Naruto could almost feel the shock and disbelief in his eyes as they were so intense. This can't be. It's impossible. Kimimaro cried out in disbelief. Naruto said, flexing his muscles and nearly effortlessly breaking out of his restraints, shattering the clematis vine into pieces. The Rasengan was the Yondaime Hokage's signature offensive jutsu, a jutsu that is the pinnacle of chakra shape manipulation, and I went and created a full-body version of that jutsu. What you just attempted to do, Kimimaro-san, is the same as trying to drill through a Rasengan, in other words, a futile attempt. Incredible. How on earth could he have so effortlessly overcome two of my strongest jutsu? My dance of the clematis was greater than even the gold dust of the Yondaime Cage. What the hell kind of guy is this? With dread, Kimimaro thought. Wind style. Blade of the wind god. Naruto uttered, concentrating a great deal of wind style chakra on his right hand. A small, extremely sharp blade formed at the tip of his hand, and a loud, screeching sound emanated from his right hand as wind chakra coated his entire hand. After seeing the jutsu for himself and hearing the sound of an eardrum bursting, Kimimaro knew right away that he had to do everything in his power to avoid being struck by it. He quickly leapt away from the blonde Uzumaki and proceeded to perform a series of hand seals, gathering an absurd amount of chakra in the process before putting both of his hands on the surface. At least, that's what he would have done if he hadn't suddenly felt a hand thrust through his chest. Seemingly unfazed by the fact that his hand was protruding from the back of his opponent, Naruto asked retortively, "Foolish. Did you really think you had time to form hand seals? Did you think the Rasen Chakra no Yoroi only boosts my strength and not my speed too?" Kimimaro wondered how many people this guy must have killed to become that apathetic about what he had just done, although if he had to be honest with himself, he wasn't one to talk either given how many people he had killed in Orochimaru's name. Despite having an arm thrust straight through his heart, Kimimaro managed to say, "S. So. This blade of the W. Wind God Jutsu, it's a supplementary jutsu to your chakra armor?" Naruto stated, not arrogantly but rather matter of factly, correct. My chakra armor is the ultimate, impenetrable shield, and this jutsu is the ultimate, all cutting blade. These two techniques, together, make me invincible. Blood spattering from his mouth, Kimimaro managed to finish a paragraph through a terrible coughing fit, but none of it could penetrate Naruto's chakra armor, which was still activated. "I figured you might have something like this up your sleeve, that's why I took precautions. I covered my entire body with a layer of bone right under the S. Skin. And I even covered my entire heart with a cocoon made of bone. I thought I was making myself invulnerable. I suppose my ultimate defense was surpluses to requirements. You are a formidable opponent. Having witnessed your fighting prowess firsthand, I can honestly say that you are the second strongest person that I have ever fought." Sincerely said Naruto. "Only the second, huh?" Kimimaro asked, grinning slightly. To console his soon to be deceased opponent, Naruto said, "If it makes you feel better, the guy who was stronger than you is a member of the Bloodline now. He is no slouch." "I see. In any case, that was a ridiculous amount of chakra you gathered earlier. What kind of jutsu were you gonna cast before I interfered?" Naruto was curious. "Before you interfered? Hee. What a curious way to describe what you just did. Nevertheless, that jutsu is called Bracken Dance. It's a large-scale jutsu. I've taken out entire battalions with that jutsu. It wasn't going to do anything to you, I just needed a distraction in order to s." Kimimaro continued. Impatiently, Naruto asked, "In order to what?" "Yo. To what?" Naruto trailed off, his eyes suddenly widening as the realization hit him. "I no longer feel his chakra. He's passed away." With his arm removed from the older boy's chest, Naruto thought, well, he actually should have died almost instantly. He must have insane willpower to have kept himself alive for that long anyway. He then ceremoniously dropped the bone user's corpse to the ground. The path to victory, the path to dominion on the battlefield, is developing a jutsu that serves as the ultimate offense and defense. The fourth Hokage used his speed, reflexes, and instantaneous teleportation as a means to both defend himself and to attack his enemies. I, on the other hand, developed the Rasen Chakra no Yoryo and its supplementary jutsu, the Blade of the Wind God technique, as a means to both defend myself and to attack my enemies. You also used your Dead Bone Pulse to both defend yourself and to attack your enemies. Having an ultimate defense and ultimate offense is the mark of a genius shinobi. You were a formidable opponent, a genius amongst geniuses. It was an honor to fight you, Kagaya Kimimaro. Naruto wrapped up his brief eulogy before AC. I should probably put his body away now and remove any signs that there was a fight here, but first. With a swift motion, Naruto activated his wind. Enhanced Kunai and threw it 180 degrees in the direction he was standing in. The wind oscillations coated his kunai with such strength and sharpness that it flew through the fallen tree behind him, striking his target, which was hiding behind the tree, and making the poofing sound associated with a deactivated summoning technique. Oh no, that Pakun is more adept than I imagined. He deactivated the summoning right at the point of contact, and he's probably just mildly hurt, Naruto thought angrily. It was no secret that Sasuke was his favorite student at this point, so he had assumed that everyone would be too preoccupied with the Sasuke situation to give him any attention. However, Naruto was once again made aware of how unpredictable human nature can be, as he was starting to realize that the experience with Sasuke might have made Kakashi want to pay extra attention to his remaining students. Perhaps he would have become more suspicious of them, or perhaps more protective of them, but whatever the case, Kakashi was obviously no longer leaving anything to chance. Naruto thought, taking a deep breath as he braced himself for the chaos that was about to ensue. Maybe I should have dealt with Pakun first and then Kimimaro? No. If I had done that, Pakun would have unintentionally called for reinforcements, and I would have been unable to secure the dead bone pulse as a result. I made the right call. Hopefully I will be able to talk my way out of this. After a week. Report on status. Tsunade yelled to the same group of people, Jiraiya, Hitaki Kakashi, Yamanaka Inoichi, Morino Ibiki, and Mitarashi Anko, for the 7th day in a row. There is nothing to share. I have no communication at all with him. I even told him about his mother and father because I was certain that learning that his father was the Yondaime Hokage would fundamentally alter his perspective on the world. However, he doesn't seem to be bothered at all. Rather, it seems as though he already knew this information and is indifferent to it. But how could he have known about it? I don't know, Jiraiya remarked, his tone simultaneously sad and irritated. I see. How are you doing, Kakashi? Has he spoken up at last? Tsunade inquired with curiosity. He really has, in fact. Tsunade's features froze as Kakashi spoke worriedly. He seemed to be in an especially good mood today. I don't know why, but it makes me feel a bit uneasy. Kakashi-san, what did he say? Shizune questioned, her curiosity mixed with angst. He acknowledged helping Sasuke get away. He showed him how to create a reinforced shadow clone and let him practice copying his shadow clone jutsu with the Sharingan. In addition, he gave him advice on how to live as a renegade ninja and assisted him with his training before he defected. At last, he acknowledged that he had assisted Sasuke in learning how to control the powers of the Cursed Seal. He dubbed this second level of the seal's effects, Cursed Seal Level 2. With one student now a renegade ninja, the other an accomplice and a threat with dubious intentions, and the third likely suffering from depression as a result, Kakashi explained sorrowfully, unable to fathom how things could have gone so horribly wrong. Sasuke can now use the full power of the Cursed Seal without any of the severe drawbacks he had before. With a broken heart, Kakashi thought, Sandaime. Sama, is this how you felt when Orochimaru spiraled into the darkness? Is this how you felt when Tsunade Sama cut all ties with the village? Why? You've got to be kidding. There's no way that could be. Jiraiya uttered a denial. All I'm sharing is what he told me. Although it's difficult for me to believe myself, if you look at the situation objectively, Naruto is capable of doing this, Kakashi remarked, keeping his eyes fixed on the ground to avoid seeing Jiraiya's hurt expression. This was especially true since he felt that his students were partly to blame for the mayhem and numerous problems that the village was experiencing. Is he now a criminal himself, having essentially just acknowledged that he helped Sasuke commit one of the worst crimes a ninja can commit? Tsunade questioned in a retort. In a calm voice, Kakashi said, Yes, Godem. Sama. I wholeheartedly concur with you. Naruto must have some plans in mind. Luckily, I decided to tighten the perimeter around his prison cell. Tsunade grinned confidently and said, There are now 6 Elite Four Man Anbu squads keeping an eye on him, and one of those teams includes the Anbu codenamed Yamato. Yamato? Tenzo, the Mokuton user, would be that, wouldn't it? Jiraiya nodded his head. That's a wise move, especially since we can't even use chakra suppression seals on him. On the day that they arrested him, the day that he battled the bone user as Pakun had described him, he had attempted to seal away Naruto's chakra. The attempt had failed spectacularly, nearly costing him both a hand and an arm. Mind transfer techniques, genjutsu, and chakra suppression seals did not work on Naruto because he had somehow created and placed barriers and seals on himself that prevented foreign chakra from entering his body. To make matters worse, these seals did not simply prevent these forms of jutsu from being used on him. Instead, they resulted in a violent counter-strike. In Jiraiya's case, this meant that his entire arm was nearly burned. In the case of mind transfer and genjutsu, it meant folding the user's mind on itself, knocking the user unconscious for 3 days. Naruto required 6 full squads of Anbu and a Mokuton user to guard him at all times because, as one can imagine, this made using conventional interrogation techniques like genjutsu and mind reading nearly impossible. It also made restraining Naruto impossible. Well, even so, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, Ibiki, Anko? Was there any chance he told you anything? Any information could be useful, regardless of how unimportant it may seem, Tsunade inquired. Naruto has a strong mental defense system. Not only does he possess barrier and seal jutsu to safeguard his mind and chakra network, but he also possesses an unwavering will. I even told him that we had located a new host for the Kyuubi and that we intended to extract the beast and seal it in someone else, but no amount of mind games could frighten him. When I told him that we would just kill him and wait for the beast to remanifest itself, he laughed at me. His response was that his sealing jutsu would prevent any attempt at extraction. I'm not referring to the cowardly laugh that captives fake to hide their fears either. My words actually made him laugh for some strange reason. Ibiki provided a lot of explanations, much to the annoyance of everyone. I've never encountered someone whose mind I can shatter, but I admit that I am powerless over Uzumaki Naruto. He's a deviation from the norm, Ibiki said flatly. I see. Anko, did your approach produce any outcomes? Tsunade inquired with curiosity. Nope, not at all. Although I don't want a pussy for a man, I do like guys who can handle pain, but this guy is just absurd. The fact that he can mend his wounds quickly exacerbates the situation and gives me the impression that I'm not actually doing anything to him. He just keeps healing, and I just keep cutting, and cutting, and cutting. It is an unending circle. Anko complained angrily, it was interesting and enjoyable at first, but now it's just boring, you know. So, you weren't able to get anything from him? May I ask? Shizune inquired. It's true, but it's also true that he kept asking me about Kurenai. I was really irritated by that. When I spend some of my precious time of the day investing in him, as the attractive and sexy Mitarashi Anko, all he can talk about is another woman. Hey. Guys. All of them are the same. You can never fully satisfy them. I was forced to bring Nai Chan in there with him eventually. Anko ended her lengthy tirade, saying, she's with him right now. I mean, I hate that he prefers another woman to me, but if it's Nai Chan, I suppose it's okay, can't blame the kid, she's almost as hot as me. So, he's currently with Kurenai? Good, he clearly has feelings for her. If she plays her cards right, maybe he'll give us something helpful. Tsunade trailed off as she was interrupted by an unexpected visitor to the Hokage's office, an Anbu woman with purple hair. Yugo, tell me what this means. Tsunade yelled indignantly. Gee. Godem. Sana. At the dark location where Uzumaki Naruto is being held, alarms have gone off. Not far away, 2 strong chakra signatures have been observed, and a lot of our ANBU's chakra signatures have abruptly vanished almost completely. Yugo said in a very urgent manner. 2 strong chakras? Akatsuki? Bravo. How unfortunate that we have to deal with them at this time. Tsunade yelled indignantly. Jiraiya reassuringly said, Kakashi and I will go, we'll handle the situation. Nah. We're all going. No matter what, we cannot let them get away. We have to send these Akatsuki fiends a message. Give Guy and Asuma the Black Site's coordinates, Shizune, and give Nara Shikaku a call to delegate my tasks to him while I handle this mess. Come with me, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Ibiki, Anko, and Yugo. Hi, Hokage. Sama. Everyone saluted, including Jiraiya, everyone simultaneously jumping into action following the Hokage's orders. Previous. Dark Sight. Kurenai said, cutting right to the chase and not wasting any time, I'm told that you asked for me, why? I already told you that I'm not interested, I have a boyfriend, and you're way too young for me. The second part is true, you do have a boyfriend, but the first part is a lie. You didn't visit me at a black site in order to tell me that, you visited me because you were concerned and wanted to see how I was doing, you visited me because despite your reservations and despite your situation with Asuma Sensei, you are interested in me. Naruto stated as though it were the most obvious thing on earth. Even if that is the case, even if I have feelings for you, the fact is I love Asuma and I have every intention of becoming his wife and spending the rest of my life with him. Nothing will change that, and I'm not interested in a premarital fling or having a sideman, I'm not that kind of woman. Kurenai replied with conviction. Naruto asked retortively, I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate that you are a woman of principle, however that makes you all the more desirable in my eyes. In any case, tell me, Kurenai. Sensei, what do you know about the bloodline? Kurenai's eyes widened slightly in surprise, as she was unaware that Naruto was aware of the organization's existence. With a mix of shock and disappointment, Kurenai uttered, "So you're the mole inside the village, the one responsible for all those missing clan members? You're working for the Bloodline." Naruto smirked slightly and said, "I'm not just a member of that organization, Kurenai. Sensei, I'm the founder of that organization, the founder. And the leader." Kurenai said, incredulous, What? Impossible. The Bloodline is an organization of S-level ninja on par with the Akatsuki. There is no way you could be the leader of such an organization. Her thoughts drifted back to her encounter with the Akatsuki, Asuma, and Kakashi, recalling how overwhelming and terrifying it was to face a ninja of that caliber, as well as how terribly outmatched she was. Are you saying that because you don't believe I'm a ninja of that caliber? Then tell me, who was it that bested and hospitalized Hitaki Kakashi without a single scratch in the graduation test? Who was it that saved the legendary copy ninja from Demon of the Mist and then went on to defeat said Demon of the Mist? Who is it that defeated Orochimaru's strongest subordinate just a week ago, the same guy who killed the Yondaime Kazekage? Tell me, Kurenai. Sensei, do those feats not sound like the feats of a S-level ninja? Naruto asked rhetorically, Kurenai's eyes widening as realization dawned on her. Kurenai snapped, "Why are you telling me all of this?" Naruto trailed off, leaving Kurenai to piece the rest together. The Bloodline, like the Akatsuki, work in two men cells. In the organization, I am the only one who doesn't have a partner. Why? You want me to join the Bloodline as your partner? That's preposterous. I'm not a ninja of that caliber. I couldn't even do anything against Akatsuki. If anything, I was nothing but a burden. Kurenai sighed. Hee hee. Hee hee hee. Kurenai yelled, "What are you laughing at?" With anger. I'm laughing at you, of course. I find it interesting that your first reaction is not out of concern for betraying Asuma or Konoha, but rather out of concern about whether you would be good enough to be a member of the Bloodline or not. Kurenai. Sensei, no, rather, Kurenai. Chan, you are so in denial about your feelings for me. Deep down, we both know that you would like nothing more than to be swept off of your feet by me, and I would like nothing more than to do that to you. Preposterous. Uzumaki Naruto, you are without a shadow of doubt, the most delusional person I have ever met. Kurenai responded with disdain. I beg to differ. In any case, have you wondered why exactly we collect the corpses of people with bloodline limits? Retorted Naruto. I have developed a jutsu called the Chimera no Jutsu. It enables me to essentially combine a person's corpse with the cell structure of another living person, bestowing upon the living person all the abilities and powers of the person to whom the corpse belongs. Do you know which corpses I intended to fuse with you if you joined the organization? Naruto asked in a caustic manner. Kurenai was equally astounded by the amount of information and was astonished that Naruto had created a kinjutsu with such potent consequences. Uchiha, of course. Many families were slaughtered by Uchiha Itachi that night of the massacre. I happen to have stolen many of the corpses for myself. Granted, the eyes were already stolen when I got there, but a bloodline limit, even if a dojutsu by nature, is contained in the overall DNA and not just the eyes. If I fuse your body with an entire family of Uchiha, as in, father, son, wife, and daughter, then just how powerful will you become when you awaken your Sharingan? You're the best genjutsu user in Konoha, but Itachi made you look like a civilian child trying to pick a fight with a grown man, but imagine if you had the power of the Uchiha too. How would a rematch with Itachi go, I wonder? Naruto trailed off with a sinister smirk, watching in amusement and joy as the cogs in Kurenai's head began to churn as she weighed her options. Naruto continued, it's the only way you can take your genjutsu prowess to the next level. Additionally, I'm curious to see what occurs if you awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. Does this mean that you will have the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan right away, or will it just be a regular Mangekyo Sharingan, given that you will have the DNA of an entire family inside of you? Naturally, this is based on Kabuto's explanation of the operation of the Uchiha powers. Kurenai trailed off, shocked by the alarm going off in the base. I can't. I can't forsake myself in the name of power. That would make me no different from Itachi, Orochimaru, and Sasuke. I won't lie, I'm intrigued by your offer, it is very tempting, but my answer is no. This was supposed to be a black site, almost impossible for an enemy or even an ally to find. Naruto stood up, dusting himself off as if he were ready to leave his own house for the day, and said, well, it looks like we just ran out of time, it's about time for me to go. Kurenai said, What's going on? With caution. I didn't make contact with my comrades as per schedule this week, so they've come to get me. I could have escaped on my own if I wanted to, but I think this way is better. Despite all I've accomplished, the higher-ups of Konoha still underestimate me greatly. They still hold on to their preconceptions of me, and those preconceptions cloud their judgment. If I had left on my own, you guys would have recklessly chased after me, but if you see firsthand the fate that awaits anyone who challenges the bloodline, then I'm inclined to believe you'll think twice before chasing after me. Naruto clarified. Naruto-kun, I think you're underestimating us. 6 of the best Anbu squads Konoha has to offer are watching over you and protecting this base. As far as I know, you have about 9 or 10 members in your squad. Do you really think that will be enough to take on 6 4-man elite Anbu squads? Furthermore, your amateurish friends have triggered the alarm, which means Godem herself is probably on her way, along with Jiraiya, Sama, Kakashi, Guy, San, and Asuma-kun. Your friends don't stand a chance. Kurenai trailed off in shock as the door to Naruto's cell was blasted off its hinges, forcing both her and Naruto to jump onto the ceiling and use the wall climbing technique to stick to the ceiling with their feet. With his right foot in the air, a monstrous man exclaimed, "Yo, Naruto. Tama. What the hell are you dawdling over here for? Can't you see that it's time to go?" Kurenai's eyes widened significantly upon realizing that, in contrast to her initial belief, the door had actually been kicked away. Incredible. That door is more than 50 tons heavy, and it takes 2 Anbu squads to perform a special jutsu to open it. How could the door have been blasted open with just a kick? Such a feat should only be accomplished by Godem. Sama. Kurenai thought, astonished. Naruto grinned sardonically and jumped back down onto the floor, saying, "Strong and dramatic as ever I see, Gatsu." The danger had now passed. Naruto. Tama, please stop making fun of me like that. With a proud smirk on his face, the enormous man, now known as Gatsu, said, "I'm not dramatic, damn it, I'm super dramatic." He was tall, very tall for a teenager, hell, very tall even for an adult, with equally black eyes and shot black hair. His features were more manly than boyish, though it was still evident that he was young. His body was very athletic, with broad shoulders and large, wiry muscles, though the muscles were hidden between his crimson red cloak. About that, the cloak was knee length with a high collar, and on his back was the kabikirabocho, a large sword wrapped in white bandages. It also featured a large black kanji for blood at the back and a large black DNA sequence running across the front from top right to bottom left and one at the back from top right to bottom left. Below, he wore black ninja pants and equally black ninja sandals, as well as white leg warmers. I won't stop until you stop referring to me as Naruto. Tama. The name, Tama, was a derivative of the words, Teme, and Sama. It was a way for Gatsu to both show his respect for Naruto as their leader while also letting him know that he thought of him as a crazy bastard. Naruto countered with a tick mark on his forehead, unable to believe that Gatsu had the nerve to carelessly continue to refer to him by that honorific, if one could even call it that. Hey. Is this the reason you're shy all of a sudden, the girl? He laughed. It seems that she is the subject of your constant chatter. Gatsu remarked nonchalantly, "She's very beautiful, I can see why you would be taken by her," which made Naruto blush embarrassingly. Lol. Hey, are you blushing at all? Haha. Gatsu let out a wild laugh. Another young man entered the cell and said, "You two shouldn't be playing around so much, Konoha's reinforcements are on their way." He was a handsome young man with brown eyes and long black hair tied in a ponytail. His unusually long eyelashes gave him a slightly feminine appearance. Like Gatsu, he was dressed in the standard Bloodline uniform, with brown gloves covering only his wrists and the back of his hands. Looking into the teenager's crimson red cornea and brilliant gold shining pupils, Kurenai thought warily, trying desperately to control her fear. Those eyes, I've never seen eyes so menacing before. It's like looking at a demon, like looking at death itself. Is that a dujutsu of some sort? Kurenai and those outside the bloodline were unaware that those eyes were the result of Naruto's experimentation. They represented the union of the bloodline limits of the Yamanaka, Hyuga, and Uchiha clans, resulting in a bloodline limit that was more potent than the sum of its parts. Kurenai-chan, allow me to present my allies to you. The large man is Momochi Gatsu. He belongs to the same clan as Momochi Zabuza and has adopted the moniker Demon of the Mist for himself. The last surviving member of the Kuba clan of Uzushiogakure no Sato is Kuba Genosuke, the handsome guy over here with the demonic eyes. Naruto casually introduced his accomplices as if he were just a random guy introducing his friends to his girlfriend. Those scary-looking eyes are his dujutsu, the Onigen. Genosuke said courteously, "Pleased to meet your acquaintance, Kurenai." "Dono. Nice to meet you, but when we get to the base, we can catch up. Who knows, maybe you'll like me over there more than Naruto." "Tama. He's too short for you anyhow," Gatsu playfully teased. "Your lack of class is so absurd that it's almost comical how uneducated you are. How did I ever become your partner?" Genosuke expressed his dismay. "Gatsu, I'm afraid she won't be joining us. We're leaving her behind because she turned down my proposal," Naruto declared, forming a ram's hand seal. Then, in a puff of smoke, he summoned a bloodline cloak for himself and put it on over his original clothing. Finally, he summoned his gunbai and put it on his back. Naruto stated, now displaying a serious tone and expression, "Reinforcements are coming this way rapidly, it would be better to meet in an open plain, as opposed to here, it will make things easier for us." Kurenai thought incredulously, "I thought he meant all of the bloodline members when he said his comrades had come to rescue him, but only 2 people are here. Is he serious? Does he honestly believe that the 3 of them are enough to defeat the whole of Konoha? Does he believe the 3 of them can take on Jiraiya, Sama and Tsunade? Sama, along with all of the strongest Jonin Konoha has to offer? In any case, I'll have to stop them here since I can't let them leave this cell with Naruto." Kurenai thought to herself as she leapt to the ground and moved to stand between the 2 bloodline members and their intended victim. "Neither of you 2 should make another move. Naruto. Kun is not going anywhere with you. Not under my supervision," Kurenai declared emphatically. "Kurenai-chan, thank you for your heroic effort, but have you really given your next move some serious thought? Where do you think the 6 elite Anbu squads that you mentioned are at the moment? And in such a short time, what do you think happened to them?" Kurenai's eyes widened to epic proportions in realization as Naruto asked in a retort. Kurenai thought analytically, he's right. Now that I think about it, there is definitely deathly silence out there, and these guys don't even look winded. In fact, they don't look like they were in a fight at all. Speaking of which, we decided to seal his corpse away because we thought you might find him useful. A Mokuton user was part of the Anbu group that attacked us. Furthermore, it seems that Otogakure is still intent on killing you. While traveling over here, we came across an assassin who resembled a spider. His name was Kidomaru or something, and he seems to have been a member of the Sound Elite 5 and a long-range assassin. He had a massive arrow pointed right at your cell. Gatsu abruptly remembered to report. We sealed him away too, figuring his abilities were unique enough to pique your interest. A ninja that resembles a spider and a Mokuton user? Naruto said, "You did very well, Genosuke, Gatsu, you did very well." Kurenai thought cynically, "Yamato is dead? Just like that? Then all the Anbu must really have been killed. But how? How could they have killed them so quickly?" Kurenai reasoned as she swiftly pulled out a kunai and threw it at Gatsu. At least, that's what she wanted to do, what she thought she was going to do. No. It doesn't matter. The only way to find out is to attack them. Any information I gain will prove useful. If I'm not overestimating Naruto Kun's feelings for me, then he won't allow them to kill me even if I lose. At least this way I'll gain an insight into their abilities. That is to say, instead of seeing the kunai that was about to slit her own neck, she found herself fighting against her own killing intent and trying to stop herself from slitting her own throat. Those eyes, those demon eyes, took up her whole field of vision. Fortunately, chakra chains suddenly appeared from under Kurenai and encircled every part of her body, preventing her from moving and ultimately saving her life. Demonic subjugation of the wicked spirit, you just witnessed firsthand the power of the Onigen. Genosuke has the power to turn your own killing intent against you, therefore no form of attack works on him. He also has a 360-degree line of vision, X-ray vision, and telescopic vision. In other words, closing your eyes is useless, attack from long range is useless, and attack from behind is useless. Attacking in numbers is also useless. Nothing can bypass the visual prowess of the Onigen. This kind of power, this godly power, this is what it means to become a member of the Bloodline. The 5 Cage run the world today, but tomorrow is ours. Naruto said as he walked around and faced Kurenai, cupping her chin in his right hand as he addressed her one last time. I had such great plans for you and high hopes for us. But I suppose power isn't everything after all. Even with great power and great charisma, there will be some things that you cannot attain. Enjoy your life with Asuma, Kurenai. Sensei, I hope it will be everything that you hoped for, that is of course, provided Asuma lives through today. No matter how much I care about you, I'm not about to handicap my own comrades to save your man. If he becomes a threat, he will be eliminated. Naruto said shortly before executing a karate chop that knocked the Genjutsu mistress unconscious. Naruto theatrically exclaimed, Come, Gatsu, Genosuke, we have a village to escape. Then, the Ice Queen of Konoha abruptly fell to the ground, breaking the chakra chains that had been holding her in place. Naruto turned around and exited the cell with a purpose, Gatsu and Genosuke following behind him. Gatsu smirked tauntingly and said, Hey. What a cold guy you are, Naruto. Tama. Neutrally, Genosuke remarked, apparently not cold enough, since he saved her life. Hey. At least he didn't let her get in his head and cloud his judgment. A cute dame like that could turn any normal man's mind, ya know. True, but Naruto. Sama is no normal man. He stands at the pinnacle of mankind, perhaps even beyond. Replied Genosuke. Gatsu nodded and said, True, true. Naruto shot back, You guys know that I'm right here, don't you? Gatsu answered, Yeah, so? Never mind, just focus on the mission. After 5 minutes. With a small smirk on his face, Gatsu said, Ooh, look at this, not only are we vastly outnumbered, but we are also surrounded. Sounds like the perfect time to let loose. His right hand was drawn out instinctively toward the massive sword he was carrying. Naruto smirked tauntingly and said, No, let's leave this one to Genosuke. No need to waste any effort on Konoha scum. With his one visible eye narrowing in rage at the blonde Uzumaki, Kakashi uttered, Konoha scum huh? So says the traitorous deserter. Naruto, what is the meaning of this? Who are these people? When we came here we assumed you were in trouble and that Akatsuki was attacking you. You can imagine our surprise to see you strutting around the village with these unknown goons. Jiraiya replied with a mixture of disbelief and Jiraiya of the Sannin, it is an honor to meet your acquaintance. My name is Momochi Gatsu, and this handsome bloke right here standing on Naruto. Sama's right-hand side is Kuga Genosuke. We are members of the Bloodline organization. We don't want any trouble, you kidnapped the founder and leader of our organization, we simply came here to take him back. There is no need for anyone else to die, give us back our leader, and all will be good in the world. Gatsu said in a diplomatic tone. Jiraiya shot back, You're full of jokes, aren't you? Tsunade angrily commanded, Enough chit-chat. Formation Pincer 584. Attack. While it was a terrible mistake on her part, to be fair, nobody could have predicted what would happen next. Disbelieving and angry, Asuma cried out, W. What just happened? W. Why did everyone just suddenly kill each other? Unable to believe what he had just seen. He could clearly recall that the Hokage did not give the order for them to attack and murder one another. Instead, she directed an elite Jonin battalion, which included the elite Hokage Guard platoon, to attack the interlopers and the traitor. Asuma knew the attack formation very well, so she gave the order. Both the left and right sides of the targets would be the sources of the attack. The individuals to the left would employ wind and fire style, and the individuals to the right would use water and lighting style. Lightning enhances water, and wind enhances fire, making both attacks far more potent than they otherwise would be. On the other hand, as wind cancels lightning and water cancels fire, the two jutsu would instantly cancel each other out. That is, once they closed in and naturally killed their targets. Avoid the two attacking platoons from inadvertently killing one another. While this was going on, one platoon circled to the rear of the targets, and another remained ready to attack from the front, using a similar attack formation to the initial attackers who were attacking from the sides in the event that the targets attempted to flee. It was a very successful tactic, having helped Konoha win numerous engagements in previous conflicts. With this tactic, entire battalions had been destroyed, and Asuma had therefore almost expected a resounding victory. He most definitely did not anticipate that his allies would instead start killing each other with jutsu. He even witnessed a few of the guys chop off their own heads and stab themselves in the heart. He had seen some crazy things in his illustrious shinobi career, but that was by far the craziest thing he had ever seen in his life. Oh. I didn't think my plan would go so well. You truly are a diamond, Genosuke, Naruto thought appreciatively. He was very happy with the way things were going so far in his plan. Aside from demonstrating to Konoha the strength of the bloodline, he hadn't just left on his own because he wanted to eliminate the Hokage guard platoon without revealing his true intentions. He was aware that if he failed to report to the organization, a two-man squad would be sent to retrieve him. He also knew that their presence in Konoha would lead to a confrontation with the Hokage and her guard platoon. However, even he was unaware of the identity of the two people who would save him, which is why he felt grateful to the gods for their support, as Genosuke was likely the only one who could kill his targets covertly. He wanted the guard platoon dead for one simple reason: his father had shared his jutsu with the Hokage guard platoon, which was a dumb mistake. Yes, they couldn't use it to his level, but what if they could teach it to someone who could? That would cause him problems later on, which was why he wanted them dead. In addition to being an extremely difficult Jikugan Fuin in the first place, the Hiraishin demands absurdly high levels of chakra control and reserves. That's probably the reason these idiots were only able to pull it off together. It's not a jutsu that the average person can use. Still, Naruto reasoned that leaving Konoha in charge of that jutsu would have been too risky. Enjoy the afterlife, and good riddance, Namaishi Reido, Shiranui Genma, Tatami Iwashi, thought the blonde Uzumaki savagely. Asuma yelled angrily, What did you bastards do? Kakashi scolded Asuma, reminding her of their experience with Uchiha Itachi. Calm down, Asuma. We can't go in recklessly, especially after what we just saw. Remember what happened the last time we went up against a dujutsu user of that caliber. This feels like a deja vu, a massive swordsman of the mist and a formidable dujutsu user. Kakashi thought warily. So those eyes. Dujutsu? Asuma trailed off. Hi, that is definitely a dujutsu, but not one that I've ever seen or heard of before. Replied Kakashi. As observant as always I see, Kakashi. Sensei, and I see that you've already got your Sharingan out. Smart move, though it won't do you much good against Genosuke's Onigin. Naruto replied with a dark grin. Jiraiya asked in rapid succession, Onigin? So that's the name of that dujutsu? What does the Onigin do exactly? Where does it come from? Why has no one ever heard of it? Demon Eye, huh? How appropriate a name, Jiraiya thought nervously. You do not know about it because this is a new power that Naruto Sama bestowed upon me. I am the first and only wielder of the Onigin. Replied Genosuke. Tsunade questioned incredulously, a power that he bestowed upon you? Naruto. Sama is a god, and just like any god, he has the power to bestow certain gifts upon his disciples. Those who follow him receive great power. These divine eyes of mine are proof of that. Genosuke responded. So, basically, you guys are a bunch of delusional cultists that he has brainwashed into following him? How can you let a little twerp like that brainwash you to this extent? How can you let him brainwash you at all? Asuma was incredulous. With a mischievous glint dancing in his ocean blue eyes, Naruto said, I have a counter question for you, Asuma. Sensei. How come you haven't asked me where Kurenai is as of yet? How come you haven't asked me about her condition? You do realize that the fact that there are no Anbu on our tail means that we killed them all, right? W. What? Why? You. You wouldn't. You. Yes, I killed her in cold blood. I gutted her and left her with her insides smeared all over the floor of my cell. Naruto said with malice. You bastard. Asuma yelled, lunging full force towards the blonde Uzumaki while brandishing his trench knives and giving them as much wind chakra as he could. Gotcha. Naruto thought misanthropically. Jiraiya yelled, No Asuma, you fool. The son of the Sandaime Hokage was only 5 meters from his target when Genosuke's gaze fell upon him. His body instantly froze, and his vision was filled with the Onigin's menacing gaze. The Onigin's chakra blade, which he had infused with wind chakra, turned and pointed towards his own throat as he quickly stabbed himself through, then viciously pulled his arm sideways, causing blood to flow from his neck and his head to hang to the side before his body crashed unceremoniously onto the ground. Well, I must say, even though he was my rival for Kurenai Sensei's affections, I kind of feel bad that he had to die. She will be devastated, and she'll probably hate me now. casually replied Naruto. Gatsu laughed at his leader's expense. Hey. Yeah, you've pretty much lost any chance of ever winning her heart now. With agony, Jiraiya exclaimed, Asuma. Kuso. Even though he and Asuma weren't particularly close, in fact, he could count on two hands how many times they had spoken, he was still Asuma's son, the adored sensei Sarutobi Hiruzen. That held significance for him, particularly since Sarutobi had acted as a father figure to him, making Asuma resemble a younger brother. It felt to him like a knife through his chest that his life was ending, so absurdly, in front of his very eyes. Genosuke, Tsunade. Dono is just like me in that she has a self-healing jutsu. If she attacks, make sure she chops off her entire head. Naruto stated. Genosuke answered, duly noted, Naruto. Sama, Kuso. Right before I launched my attack as well. Tsunade thought nervously, that stupid brat, he really has insane battle instincts. Why are you doing this, Naruto? You and Jiraiya are the ones who convinced me to come back to the village and take up the mantle of Hokage. In a way, one could say that I came back for you. Your mother, Kushina, was like a daughter to me. Your father, despite being so young himself, was a father figure to Kakashi and was like a son to Jiraiya, and he was the Yondaime Hokage too. They sacrificed their lives for this village, and now you want to destroy the very place that they sacrificed their lives for? Why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense? Tsunade was wary and concerned. Destroy? If I really wanted Konoha destroyed, it would be destroyed. The reason Konoha still stands is because of that sacrifice that you mentioned. Out of respect for their sacrifice, I have decided to allow Konoha to continue to exist. I have decided to give you just this one pass. However, if, as soon as we leave Fire Country, you decide to come after me or any of my friends, I will not hesitate. I will erase everything that has to do with Konoha, even the insects and the trees. Naruto stated matter of factly, giving his former allies no room to question his intentions. Also, if you were that close to my parents, then where were you throughout my entire childhood? Where were you when I was forced to endure multiple assassination attempts while growing up? Where were you when my spleen was ripped off as a 4-year-old and I had to regenerate a new one? Where were you when I was stabbed with a sharpened metal pipe through my left lung and had multiple kunais penetrating various parts of my body? Where were you when I was being hospitalized every other month due to multiple assassination attempts on my life that your sensei purposefully allowed? Tell me, where were you when the teachers at the academy were subordinating my education and intentionally teaching me the wrong way of doing things? Where were you when I had to bear the hate of the entire village on my own? Where were you when I had to raise myself with a meager monthly stipend even though every vendor in the village was charging the demon brat 5 times the normal price of everyone else? Naruto asked with an emotion-deficient tone and facial expression, much to the shock of everyone that was listening as they appeared to have had no idea that Naruto's situation had been that bad, the list of people listening having been reduced to just Kakashi, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Anko, Ibiki, Yugo, and Inoichi, everyone else dead by either suicide or by the hands of their own comrades. Naruto, I'm sorry, I had no idea that things had been that bad for you. Perhaps if I had been around to raise you like I should have, as your godfather, then things would have turned out differently. Having said that, I'm not going to stand here and allow you to insult Sarutobi Sensei. He was a wise and kind man, and was a benevolent leader. He would never have allowed those things to happen to you. I'm willing to bet that Danzo was behind. Jiraiya trailed off as Naruto began to laugh was talking. Eyes narrowing, Jiraiya asked, did I say something funny? As a matter of fact you did. Benevolent leader? Where was his benevolence when he ordered one of his own Anbu to exterminate his own clan and become a missing ninja? Naruto retorted. What the hell are you talking about? What clan? Which Anbu is this? Have you gone senile to the point that you have to fabricate stories to justify your betrayal? Jiraiya was incredulous. Tsunade asked suspiciously, her eyes widening as realization set in. Naruto, I can say with certainty that there is no such thing. Do you think I, as Hokage, wouldn't know if someone had? Wait a minute, are you talking about Uchiha Itachi? You're smarter than I gave you credit for, Hokage. Dono. In any case, yes, precisely. Haven't you wondered why, despite the Uchiha being company founders of Konoha, that all the Hokage were either Senju or had some sort of connection with the Senju? The first and second Hokage were both Senju, The third was a student of the first and the second, the fourth was a student of the third, who was a student of the Senju himself, and now the fifth, you, is a student of the Senju brothers, and a Senju yourself. Despite the Uchiha being equal in power, skill, and prestige to the Senju, none of them have ever been elected for the title of Hokage. In fact, none of them have had any say or political influence whatsoever in the village. Do you think that was a coincidence? Firmly. That's just a coincidence. It's only natural that a Hokage would groom and prepare his students for the title of Hokage. There is no conspiracy here. Kakashi replied with accuracy. Naruto said, pausing momentarily before continuing, you overestimate both your knowledge and your own intelligence, Kakashi. Perhaps that is a result of being hailed as a genius since you were but a toddler. He then proceeded to tell them everything he knew about the history of the Uchiha clan, from the time of the warring clans to Tobirama's establishment of the Uchiha clan police system, which was intended to prevent the Jonin Uchiha from leaving the village to carry out their police responsibilities because they had to remain there. As Naruto explained, the system was created to keep the Uchiha in the village where they could be closely watched and observed. It was also created to keep the Uchiha from developing to their full potential by keeping them from gaining more battle experience and because intense battle is known to make the Uchiha's ocular powers stronger. This was also done to keep them from suffering a loss. These strong feelings that the Uchiha go through allow them to awaken what is called the Mangekyo Sharingan. Thus, the police system was instituted to keep the Uchiha from suffering this kind of loss, which they probably would in battles with other ninja on missions. Additionally, Naruto clarified that the third Hokage and his advisors carried out the second Hokage's instructions, even going so far as to compel the Uchiha to relocate from the center of the village to a compound situated slightly outside of it. Naruto clarified that this was done to make it easier to watch the Uchiha as well as to make it easier to kill them should the need arise and no one in the village would have to witness it. He continued by going into great detail about what transpired up until Itachi received orders to dissolve his clan and join an class criminal organization, this time acting as a double agent similar to what he had done with the Uchiha clan and Konoha. Naturally, Naruto's tale left everyone stunned, leaving them unable to make sense of the differences between the Hiruzen and Konoha they knew and the Sarutobi Hiruzen and Konoha that Naruto mentioned. Inoichi questioned incredulously, That's impossible. Even if what you said was true, how the hell could you have known all of this? I heard it from my sensei, of course, and naturally I wouldn't be surprised, at least nowhere near as much as you lot, as I already knew what a vile human being Sarutobi Hiruzen was. Naruto was deadpanned. Your sensei? By that I assume you don't mean Kakashi or Jiraiya, you're talking about Kabuto aren't you? Tsunade responded with a retort. Of course. He's the only sensei I have. I didn't learn anything from Kakashi or Jiraiya, they're not my mentors. Naruto replied. Didn't learn anything? Who was it that taught you the summoning jutsu and the Rasengan? Jiraiya exploded. Naruto retorted, not you. What? Jiraiya yelled in a furious manner. I already knew the summoning technique, after all, I used the Chimera Ant summoning technique to defeat Zabuza and save Kakashi's butthole from being raped by Zabuza. As for the Rasengan. Newsflash, I already knew how to do the Rasengan, and I'm better at it than you will ever be. I only pretended to learn it from you so that I wouldn't get asked questions about how I knew the Rasengan. Jiraiya, I didn't learn anything from you, you're not my teacher. Naruto argued, much to the surprise of everyone. Tsunade suddenly exclaimed, you're wrong. A mentor doesn't only teach you ninjutsu, what a mentor imparts on you as a student goes way beyond ninjutsu. In fact, one could argue there are things that are much more important than ninjutsu that a sensei can impart on a student. Tsunade passionately stated. Fair enough, you have a point. I still hold Kabuto Sensei in higher regard than the both of my other two teachers though, much higher. Naruto replied. Naruto. The story you just told us, about the Uchiha coup and their subsequent slaughter, did you tell Sasuke? Is that why he defected? Kakashi was staring with widened eyes. Quite impressive again, sensei. And yes, as a matter of fact I did tell him. But he was gonna defect anyway, I just gave him the final push that he needed to do what he already wanted to do. Initially he was only going to do it because he thought he could get power from Orochimaru, he felt he needed Orochimaru in order to master the Cursed Seal. However, I unlocked those powers for him, I did after all help Orochimaru to complete the Cursed Seal, so instead of joining Orochimaru, Sasuke went his own way. Still, now he hates Konoha just as much as he hates Itachi, perhaps even more so. He'll be coming back to finish what I started here. He'll come back to destroy Konoha. Naruto said with a dark tone. With a hint of doubt in her voice, Anko asked, am I the only one that's wondering how the hell Kabuto would know any of this in the first place? I suppose you don't know much about Kabuto. Sensei, huh? Well, Kabuto Sensei was an ambush spy for the village. He and his mother both were the best spies that the village ever had. They infiltrated all the 5 great ninja villages and other smaller villages. Kabuto Sensei was a prodigy in the spy department. They were forced to be separated at a young age. His mother only had one demand, that they continue to send her pictures of him every year as he grew and developed. Initially they sent her pictures of him, but gradually they started sending pictures of someone else with similar characteristics to him. His mother, who hadn't seen him in years, didn't notice the subtle changes. She believed that this imposter was her son. When Konoha had no use for them anymore, they decided to get rid of both their loose ends. They thought that these 2 spies knew too much for their own good, and they were too good at their job to be trusted. Their loyalties were no longer ascertainable according to Konoha. So, they sent his own mother after Kabuto Sensei to eliminate her own son, with the promise that it was her last mission and she would get to see her son afterwards. When she met her target, she didn't recognize him at all. Kabuto Sensei ended up killing his own mother in self-defense, and the last thing he heard his mother say was, "Who are you? Why do you think I'm your mother?" Naruto abruptly stopped. You really are full of stories, aren't you? And just what the hell does that have to do with the Uchiha massacre? Anko responded with disbelief. It has everything to do with it. Kabuto Sensei is the best spy in the world, and he infiltrated Konoha as a genin even after they tried to kill him, and spent years inside the village, spying on the village for Orochimaru. There is nothing that happened behind these gates that he didn't know about, including the Uchiha massacre. Naruto stated the truth. It seems to me that both you and Uchiha Sasuke have been manipulated by that boy, you directly, and Sasuke indirectly through you. You are dancing on the palm of his hands. Tsunade replied with a smirk. Naruto laughed and said, I guess that's how you and Jiraiya fell for that old man's bullshit, huh, Hokage? Sama? Naruto. Tama. It's time we left. These people are just buying time to figure out a strategy against us. It's time for us to leave. Gatsu spoke quickly. What are you afraid of, big guy? The hot and sexy Mitarashi Anko too hot for you? Replied Anko. Gatsu teased, evoking a chuckle from Naruto and even a small one from the ever-serious Genosuke. The slutty and skanky Mitarashi Anko is of no interest to me. She is just a desperate girl who was manipulated and cast aside by the snake pedophile when he was done playing with her, only to be used and manipulated by an old, wrinkled pervert Hokage all over again. You bastard. Ibiki reprimanded his torture and interrogation protege, saying, Stop it. Anko. Don't fall for his tricks. Can't you see they're trying to provoke you like they did with Asuma? Listen. I think I have an idea about how that guy's dujutsu works now. Think about it. We've all looked into his eyes but nothing has happened to us, unlike the others. I've made a couple of deductions. 1. This guy undoubtedly has to have a 360-degree line of vision, just like the Byakugan. Why? Because even people who were attacking from his blind spot were affected by his dujutsu, people who never made eye contact with him. The only way that is possible is if he has a 360-degree line of vision. Secondly, his power is the ability to turn one's killing intent against themselves or against his or her own comrades. Any killing intent and action taken against him or his comrades will be turned against you or your comrades. That's why only people who have actively attacked them have been affected. Asuma wasn't affected until he tried to attack them. So, as long as you don't attack, nothing will happen to you, but if you attack, you'll die. That's why they provoked Asuma and that's why they're trying to provoke you now. Ibiki ended his talk. In the end, Genosuke exclaimed, Impressive analysis, one Morino Ibiki. But I wonder just how long you will be able to rein in your killing intent, especially since. Gatsu. Gatsu, however, moved over to where Anko and Ibiki were in the blink of an eye, pulled out and swung his sword, decapitating Mitarashi Anko, then returned to his original position and put his sword back on his back. All of this occurred while Anko's head was still in the air. Thud. No. Anko! Anko! Ibiki cried out, feeling a mixture of shock, fear, anger, and sadness as Anko's head and body struck the ground at the same time. Genosuke said with a menacing tone and look, "Let's see how well you can keep your killing intent in check now that your protege's head has left her shoulders." Inoichi cried out in terror and worry, "We have to do something, we can't just stand here and do nothing." With a warning undertone, Naruto said, "That is exactly what you will do, nothing. If you value your lives, that is." The Hokage, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Ibiki, and Inoichi all reluctantly moved aside as the three bloodline members walked right past them. Naruto said, "Come, Genosuke, Gatsu, let us go home." As he started to approach the Konoha entourage, with Genosuke and Gatsu following their leader. Even though Inoichi was incredibly afraid and didn't know how they were going to stop the three kids who had just made Konoha's elite Jonin squads and Anbu look like jokes, they had even made the Sannin look like jokes, he exclaimed, We can't allow this to happen. Konoha's reputation is at stake. If they are allowed to leisurely walk out of the village, then I am afraid we will lose something very important today, something more important than even the Kyuubi. Jiraiya. Sama, back me up. I have a theory that I want to test out. Kakashi yelled as he swiftly performed a series of hand seals and then used his left hand to grab his right wrist, activating his signature jutsu in the process as his right hand became illuminated with electricity. No. Kakashi, wait. Jiraiya cried, but it was too late as Kakashi raced at breakneck speed towards the three interlopers, who didn't even turn to look at him. Meanwhile, the Tomoe on the copy ninja's Sharingan was rapidly spinning around the pupil, giving the impression that the interlopers were unaware of his attack. It didn't take long, and as was to be expected, Kakashi didn't even get close to his targets before coming to an abrupt stop, motionless, and his whole field of vision filled with the terrifying sight of Genosuke's gaze, all the while knowing that said ninja hadn't even turned to face him. The renowned copy ninja made an incredible effort to overcome the effects of the jutsu by focusing as much chakra as he could on his left eye, but in vain because his own arm, enhanced by Chidori, flew towards his chest and eventually destroyed his own heart, at least, that is, if he hadn't found himself suddenly immobile. This is the hair jutsu of Jiraiya. Sama? In addition, Tsunade moved swiftly, touching Kakashi on the forehead with her right index and middle finger, breaking the jutsu by injecting a significant amount of her own chakra into Kakashi's chakra circulatory network. Kakashi realized this and breathed a small sigh of relief. Jiraiya had behaved exactly as he had been hoping he would. The Toad Sannin used his hair, which had extended and wrapped around the entire body of the copy ninja, to draw the copy ninja back towards him. Naruto turned to face his enemies once more and said, "What foolishness. Did you really think that a mere Sharingan was enough to break out of Genosuke's jutsu?" Naruto. Sama, even I am running out of patience. Perhaps we should kill them after all and be done with it. Genosuke grumbled. Jiraiya said, "Kill us all? HN. You underestimate us too much. Let me show you why I earned the title of Legendary Sannin." His hands instantly turned white as he clasped them together in concentration. With a great puff of smoke covering his entire body, Jiraiya exclaimed, "Did you really think I was just standing around doing nothing this whole time? Before we confronted you, I had already summoned 2 shadow clones and had them gathering nature chakra. Now witness my ultimate combat form and cower in fear and trepidation. Kachiyose no Jutsu." The smoke vanished a few moments later, revealing the same Toad Sannin, but with a very different appearance than before. In addition to having 2 tiny toads perched on each of his shoulders, which was strange in and of itself, he also had a noticeably different face. Specifically, his eyes and nose seemed to have taken on characteristics of a frog. Even his chakra felt very different from before. It was much stronger than it had been and felt very different all around. Sennin mode? Jiraiya. Are you stupid? What difference is that going to make? Even a Sharingan couldn't break out of that guy's genjutsu. What makes you think entering that mode will do? You're just making yourself a stronger opponent against your own damn comrades and even against yourself. Tsunade exclaimed with an abundance of rage and annoyance. When I enter Sennin mode with Ma and Pa on my shoulders, our chakra circulatory systems become linked together. In other words, our chakras are constantly intermingling with one another. Genjutsu doesn't work on us when we enter this form. Jiraiya said with assurance. I see, that is indeed an ingenious strategy. Still, what about that super fast guy? Even my Sharingan was unable to follow his movements. Kakashi sighed. Senin mode gives me an uber boost in all my combat abilities. I'm much faster than I was before. Jiraiya responded. No. Wait. Even if you're faster now, even if you were to keep up with Momochi Gatsu's speed, there is no guarantee that the others will sit idly while you fight him. We still need at least 2 capable combatants, otherwise we're still at a disadvantage. Ibiki sighed. Then I'll join in. I'll use the strength of 100 seal. I am able to fight with the seal constantly activated for a considerable amount of time. The seal releases a strong and constant surge of chakra into my circulatory network. For as long as the seal is activated, I should, theoretically, be immune to genjutsu due to the constant influx of chakra. Tsunade elaborated. Kakashi exclaimed, that could actually work. Good thinking, Godem. Sama. With a hint of excitement and hope. Jiraiya grinned confidently and remarked, I told you not to underestimate the Sannin. Jiraiya cried out as he went through a series of hand seals, Tsunade. Haim, you go after the kid with the creepy eyes, I'll take on the big one with the speed, but only if this fails. Shima. Sama, Fukusaku. Sama, we're going with that jutsu. The married toad couple exclaimed, got it, Jiraiya. Chan. At the same time as they each completed a set of hand seals. Jiraiya yelled, Senpo. Gomon. As he spat out a lot of flammable toad oil that had been started by Shima's fire jutsu and fueled by Fukusaku's wind style. This created an incredibly large lake of fire that was so high and so wide that there was no way to avoid it. Gatsu grinned confidently and said, hey. Is that the best the Sannin has to offer? Pathetic. As he quickly made a shadow clone that stood behind him and rested its right hand on his back. Gatsu yelled, ninja art, exploding water colliding storm. As he spit out a massive water wave with extreme pressure and lightning. Fast speed. He employed a jutsu that was a variation on the water style, which is an exploding water colliding wave. However, this version was improved by the addition of lightning and wind styles, which together formed his swift release bloodline limit. Before being released as the jutsu, the chakra that would create the exploding water colliding storm was blended together within Gatsu's chakra network, and the clone precisely timed its rapid release chakra with the water release chakra that the original was accumulating. Because of this special ability, the exploding water colliding wave that Gatsu released had a powerful penetrating and paralyzing force from the lightning chakra and a much higher water pressure and speed from the wind chakra because the swift release was a combination of those two affinities. The Toad Sannin's jutsu was easily destroyed by the exploding water colliding storm, as predicted at least as far as Gatsu and company were concerned. In fact, it was almost as if the jutsu had never existed in the first place. Gatsu's quick release of the jutsu made it even more powerful, and none of the Konoha team was able to avoid it because it was too fast and covered too much ground. After all, how does one avoid a tidal wave? Naruto said, now standing atop a 15-meter deep lake of water with lightning. Like oscillations, that was quite the impressive jutsu there, Gatsu. But now you've flooded the whole place and I have to release a constant surge of wind chakra to my feet just to stop myself from getting electrocuted by the electric lake that you've created. Same here. I find myself having to coat my feet with my own lightning style just to diffuse the electric current from the lake. Genosuke replied. Ma, what is this? All I hear is whining from you two brats. I just took out two Sannin, the legendary copy ninja, the head of the Yamanaka clan, Konoha's famed torture and interrogation specialist Morino Ibiki, and one of their best Anbu operatives Azuki Yugo. How about a little gratitude, huh? Gatsu replied. Genosuke retorted, you were supposed to let me handle them per Naruto. Sama's instructions. Huh? Well, forgive me for taking initiative, I just thought that you calling out my name and having me take out Mitarashi Anko for you was you admitting that you couldn't handle this on your own and directly asking for my help. Gatsu chided. Genosuke trailed off, eyes wide as he found himself having to quickly bend low on the waist to duck under an enemy attack and avoid instant decapitation. Ridiculous. As if I would ever. Might Guy yelled, Uber. Superhuman leaf hurricane. As he delivered a sweeping frontal kick to Genosuke's head. At least that was the plan, as Guy's eyes widened in shock at how no one had ever avoided that attack before, running away and dodging the return fire. His adversary then appeared out of nowhere, drawing a sword in retaliation, nearly succeeding in beheading the would-be decapitator. Regretfully, Genosuke's adversary managed to retreat to a secure distance precisely when needed. Shimada. It still amazes me that the attack didn't succeed. This guy, his reflexes and visual abilities are incredible. This is going to be much harder than I anticipated. Guy considered his opponents with apprehension. Oi oi, what the hell is going on here? Why didn't your ocular reverse killing intent thing work on this guy? Gatsu sighed. There are two possible reasons for that. For one, I can sense neither killing intent or negative emotions from him. Secondly, even if he had those feelings, it's possible that Genosuke's power wouldn't have worked anyway because of the fact that he has released the fifth gate. With that many of his limiters released, the chakra surge and chakra oscillations occurring in his chakra coils make it almost impossible to use genjutsu or mind control on him, if not outright impossible. Naruto clarified. Okay, I get the second part, but I'm having trouble with the first. You mean to tell me that this guy didn't have killing intent just now? I mean, he literally tried to decapitate Genosuke. Gatsu looked puzzled. Indeed, it is a difficult concept to grasp. It appears we have a pure-hearted combatant on our hands, meaning that, even though his attacks are dangerous and are nearly all killing blows, he bears us no ill will, only fighting for his objective of protecting his comrades and winning the battle. There used to be warriors like him in the Kuga clan, which is why I'm familiar with the concept. Genosuke clarified. Oh no. These Konoha shinobi are unique in every way. Though Genosuke's menacing gaze has never failed to deter an enemy, today 3 individuals have demonstrated resistance to Genosuke's visual jutsu. That's absurd, Gatsu thought to himself. These people are hazardous. Even though I'm using the fifth gate, he was able to not only track my attack pattern with his eyes but also move quickly enough to dodge, counter, and nearly hit me. In what way is he able to follow my fifth gate form? Then, what will it take to beat him? The seventh gate or the sixth? Guy considered this warily. Might Guy. San, I've noticed something about your fifth gate release. It would appear that the energy flowing from your body is pushing the lightning from the electrical lake away from your body. Perhaps you can use that to your advantage as you dive into the lake to save your comrades. Yamanaka Inoichi. San isn't going to make it, he's already dead, but the others might make it if you hurry. They're unconscious at the bottom of the lake, Jiraiya. Dono seems to be conscious but the electrical current has paralyzed him. They'll all drown if you don't hurry. So you have a choice, fight us, or save your comrades, save your Hokage. Which one will it be, might Guy? San? Genosuke asked rhetorically, much to Guy's surprise as he had actually been wondering where the others were. From where he is now, he can not only sense their location, but also their precise physical state. How vast is the range of his artistic ability? Is the Byakugan's Jujutsu comparable to his? If what he is saying is accurate, could it just be a ruse? Then, I suppose, I'll have to go try to save the others. There's no way I could defeat all 3 of them, even if I decided to fight these guys and let the others die. And even if I did manage to defeat them, I wouldn't be able to keep Naruto Kun under control indefinitely. However, by the time I return, these guys will have left if I manage to save the others. How should I proceed? Will you protect the others or will Yondaimi's legacy escape? Bravo. I am at a loss for what to do. Guy pondered for a moment before plunging into the water. Naruto said aloud, a very wise decision, might Guy. Are we ready to go now, Naruto? Sama? Genosuke inquired. As they turned around and activated their Shunpo no Jutsu, Gatsu also activated Swift Release, allowing for shadowless flight, and Genosuke activated Lightning Release, allowing for God Speed. With all 3 of them traveling at speeds that would have made the yellow flash of Konoha proud, Naruto said, yes, let us go, Genosuke, Gatsu. As they ran through the forests of Fire Country, Gatsu told his leader, it's a good thing you used the contract seal to break your connection to the Toads. Now you won't have to worry about Jiraiya reverse summoning you. Agreed, but did the Toads teach you about his wise mode? It appears to be a pretty helpful technique, Genosuke inquired. No, I didn't. In fact, I was completely unaware of it. But because I thought the Toads were unique, I called upon them and engaged in combat with as many of them as I could, ensuring that I captured as much of their DNA as I could. I'm growing DNA copies of the Toads I wrestled with right now. With a demonic smirk, Naruto answered, I'll use said clones to create a Toad branch of Chimera ants, and then I'll learn the secrets of Toad Sage mode. So, are you going to get a Toad Chimera in Sage mode? I think that's fantastic, Naruto. Tama. Gatsu exclaimed, I'm not sure how you think of these ideas, but you're a total genius man. Genosuke stated flatly, the greatest genius mind on the planet. After 3 days, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki has completely vanished from the earth. Pain deadpanned, as everyone was shocked into silence at the shocking news. This was the first time they had encountered a situation similar to this one. After all, Zetsu and Conan were the greatest spies and trackers in the organization, if not the entire world. They had never failed to locate a target before, and if they failed to do so, it was a safe assumption that no one could. Hold on, what? That isn't achievable. Zetsu, you useless bastard. You seem to me to be the earth itself. If someone is still alive, how can they hide from you? Are you saying that aliens kidnapped them? Hidan, who appears to be in his mid to late 20s, exclaimed with righteous indignity. He is a relatively tall man with neatly pushed back silver gray hair, the typical Akatsuki uniform, and a massive red scythe with 3 sharp blades and a wire attached to the bottom end resting on his back. Zetsu is not to blame. The mystery of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki remains unsolved. We do, however, have a contract with him. He asked to be allowed some time to figure out how to take off his biju without dying. He thinks he can accomplish this on his own. We only need to wait until he has released the Kyuubi and then easily track it down because he doesn't want anything to do with Akatsuki or the biju. Pain gave the order to Itachi and Kisame to remain vigilant and monitor any sightings of the beast. Hi, leader. Itachi said, mastering that emotionless demeanor he had perfected. Isn't it a little silly to believe anything this Jinchuriki says? And what gives you the impression that he can accomplish the unthinkable, removing the biju without dying? An incredulous looking man from the Red Sands named Sasori questioned with a hunchback. This child, however, is the same one who vanquished the Toad Sage Jiraiya, the copy ninja Hitaki Kakashi, the Slug Queen, and the Sannin Hokage Tsunade. In addition, he overcame Momochi Zabuza and Kagaya Kimimaro before that, and he accomplished something else unprecedented. He managed to fully evade Conan's and my attention for the duration of the encounter. The child is an absolute genius. He has the ability to accomplish his goal without a doubt, Zetsu shot back. What precisely is his aim? Based on the information you have provided, it appears that this child doesn't feel the need to please us. To be more precise, he is the head of the only organization in the world that can compete with us. Why, then, would he give the Kyuubi to us? Kakuzu questioned retortively. The man is tall, has frightening green eyes, and is completely covered except for his eyes. He is dressed in the traditional Akatsuki uniform, but there doesn't seem to be a weapon on him. His intentions aren't quite clear, huh? Deidara, the youngest member of the group, nodded in agreement. He is a teenager with long blonde hair and green eyes, and he wears the typical Akatsuki uniform. He also doesn't appear to be carrying a weapon of any kind, but he does have what appear to be mouths on each of his palms. At this point, try not to think about it too much. Anyhow, we have to reschedule our biju hunting trip. The biju hunt will be resumed in 3 years, as agreed upon at the last meeting. Right now, concentrate on the tasks at hand. Authoritatively, Pain was ordered. Let's finish what the Kyuubi brat started and bring the village to the top. Send me and my man Sasori to the Leaf Village, HN. The Kyuubi brat would definitely be appreciative and would bring the Kyuubi to our door by hand to express his gratitude, he. Deidara spoke. Everyone has received their orders. Do you have any questions? Ignoring Deidara's ridiculous suggestion, Pain asked. Itachi thought, the cogs in his head turning as a plan started to take root in his mind. This is not good. Konoha have taken a significant blow. Naruto is destroying everything I have worked hard to preserve. If the other nations learn that Konoha have lost their biju, it could lead to another war, a war that Konoha might possibly lose. I'll have to use Yakushi Kabuto, Itachi determinedly thought. Ignored. After Pain adjourned the Akatsuki meeting, all of the Akatsuki members cancelled the self projection jutsu they had been using to enter the meeting, Pain said. In the region of the rivers. I'm sorry to say it, but I warned you that the Kyuubi brat would only cause problems. When we had the chance, we ought to have taken him hostage, Kisame remarked angrily. Itachi wisely answered, maybe, but we cannot change what has already happened. We can only focus on the future. Then, what should we do to pass the time? Kisame inquired with curiosity. It seems clear from Zetsu's intelligence that Yakushi Kabuto served as Naruto Kun's mentor. Itachi answered, maybe if we manage to reach him, we can reach Naruto Kun. Employ his mentor to entice him, huh? As one might expect from the Uchiha clan's genius, I can't deny that's a brilliant plan, Kisame shot back with a toothy grin. In any case, I have something important I want Kabuto to do for me, besides helping me find Naruto. Kun, that is. Itachi said loudly. What would that entail? Kisame inquired with curiosity. You'll learn the truth in due time. Itachi gave the command, come, let's go to the Nation of Sound, and started to move in Otogakure no Sato's direction. Itachi thought somberly, I apologize to Sasuke, but it looks like I may have to live longer than I had planned. Your revenge will have to be postponed. After a year. The Kyuubi thought incoherently, what's going on here? Where am I? Why am I? Why am I so small? As he turned to face the ceiling while lying on his back in a simple room. You're finally awake. I was starting to grow tired of seeing your disgusting behind, you demonic piece of shit. The Kyuubi turned to face the source of the rough female voice and saw, to his surprise, the eyes of a brown-eyed, red-haired teenager who was average in height, but who was obviously a wild and untamed woman, a tomboy, no doubt, with very beautiful, spotted smooth skin and beautiful, long red hair. She had no visible weapons and was wearing a red, high-collar cloak with a DNA sequence on it. It looked like she was probably wearing shorts underneath the cloak and also had female style ninja sandals. The not-so-giant fox demon asked himself, a ninja? Why is she so big? Better yet, why am I so small? With bewilderment. It seems like you have a lot of inquiries for us. I will respond to all of them to the best of my abilities, in accordance with Naruto. Sama's instructions, a second female voice uttered, this time from the Kyuubi's left side. This startled him a little, causing him to quickly turn his head to the left and see another red-haired woman, dressed precisely like the previous girl, with gorgeous, long red hair, the only difference being that she wore glasses and had red eyes. These women are Uzumaki. What's happening here? Is this dreaming? Something like a genjutsu? The Kyuubi cautiously considered, but then remembered that the girl had promised to respond to all of his inquiries, and a light bulb went out in his mind. The Kyuubi asked, stammering a little from the shock of not knowing it was his own voice and sounding much, much softer than usual. Why am I here, A? And W? Why am I so small? He blurted, and why does my voice sound different? As he struggled to look down at his body but was restrained by chakra chains that prevented him from moving an inch. The red-eyed woman said kindly, first let me say, don't worry about the chakra chains. I'm only restraining you so that you don't immediately lash out and attack us in your confusion. I'm also well aware you have a violent history with Uzumaki women and humans in general. We will let you go free at the conclusion of this conversation, all right? The Kyuubi nodded, although he didn't for a moment believe a word she had just said. She's blocking my chakra, so I can't feel her feelings, Kuso. What a dumb human girl. The fox spirit pondered in exasperation. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to answer your question. You are small because you now have a human form. This form is Naruto. Sama's farewell gift to you, and it also serves as, I guess, an apology for the way the Uzumaki clan has treated you over the years. Karen clarified. Disbelieving, Kyuubi asked, H. Human form? W. What? He turned me into a human? H. How? He was taken aback by the words that had just come out of the red-eyed Uzumaki girl. By the way, my name is Uzumaki Karen. The other girl is my partner and cousin, Uzumaki Tayuya. We were assigned the mission to watch over you until you woke up and to debrief you as soon as you awakened. The girl, who is now known as Uzumaki Karen, said. The Kyuubi yelled, Hey, what the hell? That's not what I asked you, you stupid ninja. It's nice to meet you. Angry Demon Fox, Tayuya rolled her eyes and said, and I thought I had anger management issues. He didn't turn you into a human per se, it's more like, he made you into a Jinchuriki of an empty vessel. The body you're controlling now is a genetical engineered body. Naruto. Sama used a unique DNA splicing procedure to completely isolate Hashirama's DNA from the corpse of the former Konoha Anbu codenamed Yamato. Yamato had the Mokuton bloodline limit due to genetic fusion experiment conducted by Danzo and Orochimaru. So, after isolating Hashirama's cells, Naruto Sama then used your yang chakra to accelerate the growth of the cells into a full-grown human form. Well, almost full-grown at least. Currently you have the body of an 18-year-old. Karen explained, taking a small pause to allow the millennia-old tailed beast to digest the information. Don't worry, you don't look like a carbon copy of Hashirama. Your chakra made some alterations to the clone. For one, you have red hair unlike Hashirama and you don't even look like him. You still look 100% human though. In any case, Naruto. Sama could have used his own yang chakra to accelerate the growth or used other scientific methods, but he specifically used your yang chakra. I suspect he knew it would alter your appearance, especially since your chakra is so strongly tied to your will, but another reason is that he wanted to use your chakra to modify the body to such an extent that you could easily control it as if it were your own, and also to make the body compatible with your chakra. Clones have no consciousness or soul, so if you become a Jinchuriki of a clone, essentially an empty vessel, then you will control the body as if it is as your own. Karen concluded. The Kyuubi questioned suspiciously, why Hashirama's cells though? He could have used any other person's cells, why him specifically? He was never going to use Uzumaki DNA, Naruto. Kun is very protective of Uzumaki DNA. Hashirama was the next best choice, and the reason is because of the chakra-suppressive nature of Hashirama's DNA, his strong life force, and his ability to control tailed beast chakra. His body would obviously make the perfect Jinchuriki for you, and his strong life force and chakra-suppressive nature means that your demon chakra can be cloaked even from the best sensor type. Conversely, your strong yang chakra means that you will be able to utilize Mokuton Jutsu at a far greater degree than Yamato ever could. In fact, you might even match or surpass Hashirama in time. You and Hashirama are the perfect complements to each other. Your yang chakra makes his Mokuton stronger, and his DNA and chakra makes him a perfect Jinchuriki for you. Karen clarified that. So basically, I will be able to become a perfect Jinchuriki, meaning that I can use all of my powers, and even make a full body transformation into my true form. The Kyuubi retorted. Karen answered simply, precisely. However, you'll have to train and master Water Style, Earth Style, and Mokuton Style before we allow you to leave. You must only use your Jinchuriki powers as a last resort. The whole purpose of giving you a human form is to make it difficult for Akatsuki to find you. If you go around throwing demon chakra around, then this whole procedure would have been for nothing. Think of this body as a barrier that hides your demon self from chakra sensors. Tayuya continued. The Kyuubi trailed off thoughtfully. I see. Karen inquired, is something on your mind, Kyuubi? Don't know? With curiosity. The Kyuubi frowned deeply and said, yes. My question is, why? Why would that idiot go through so much trouble to do this for me? As I said, it is Naruto. Kun's way of making up for his sins against you and those of his forebears. Also, I suppose, he is wary of whatever Akatsuki has in store for you and the other tailed beasts. I guess he figured this way he could kill two birds with one stone by simultaneously making up for his past deeds and spoiling Akatsuki's plans. Karen responded. The fox questioned, intrigued as well as worried, okay, so where is he now? How is he even alive? Jinchuriki die when their tailed beast is extracted. How did he avoid death? Yes, the host becomes dependent on the Biju chakra, and therefore cannot live without the Biju. So then, what if the host's body was able to produce its own demonic chakra? Karen retorted. That's not possible, the Kyuubi exclaimed, skeptically. The Kyuubi's eyes widened in surprise and realization as Tayuya asked retortively, the Gold and Silver brothers proved otherwise, didn't they? With a tone of conviction, Kyuubi asked, he used that abominable jutsu of his to fuse the corpses of those brothers into himself, didn't he? Tayuya replied, yes he did. He also fused into himself the third Raikage, two Hyugas, a Yamanaka, a Kagaya, Tobarama Senju, and his own mother and father, Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato. He is undoubtedly the god of all shinobi now. He could have fused this body that you have now into himself as well so that he can get Hashirama's power, but he gave it up for you. That's how far he was willing to go to atone for his sins and to protect you from Akatsuki. Tayuya continued, and the Kyuubi realized at that very moment that he didn't even need his negative emotion sensing to know that these two were telling the truth. For the first time since he could even remember, the Kyuubi said, I see. With a single tear dripping from his right eye. Karen smiled a little and said, we're going to release the chakra chains now. We will take you to Naruto. Sama. He has prepared a feast for you. Today we eat and celebrate, and tomorrow we train. Her chakra chains were swiftly dispelled, allowing the Kyuubi to move around. The Kyuubi quickly got out of bed and headed straight for the mirror, tired of the suspense already. Tayuya said with a cocky smirk, "There's a mirror straight ahead, you can go and check yourself out. Don't worry, all the human ladies will fall head over heels for you. You're quite the pretty boy, you foxy piece of shit, not as handsome as Naruto." Sama, of course, but not bad at all. Saying that he was taken aback by what he saw would be a vast understatement given his long, flawless red hair, reminiscent of the Uzumaki's, and his vivid green eyes. It was surprising to see how effeminate his features were. In fact, he was unquestionably both handsome and beautiful. He was dressed simply in black right now, with nothing more than a black ninja pant and a sleeveless black top. With a slight smirk, the Kyuubi remarked, not bad at all. "So, I assume you're not dissatisfied then?" Tayuya questioned, grinning of her own. "Not at all." The humanoid fox answered without looking away, meeting Tayuya's gaze through her reflection in the mirror. Karen said a little urgently, "In that case, let us not keep the others waiting for too long. Let us head out. Before we go, allow me to introduce myself properly, since you've been so kind to me. My name is Kurama, Yoko Kurama. Otobikyu's secret base 2.5 years later. Kabuto, you did great. I'll be fine with this." Uchiha Itachi spoke as he examined his reflection in the mirror, focusing on the facial protrusion on his left breast that bore a striking resemblance to Hashirama Senju's face. "Thank you, Itachi. Sama, but no. Without a doubt, you have been my favorite research subject to date. I had a great time playing around with your body." With a jovially delivered reply, Kabuto's glasses glistened with menace as he gave them the finger and inadvertently pushed them into place. HN. It's interesting that you treat him with such high regard in one sentence, yet in another, you reduce him to the status of a simple study subject. If my understanding is incorrect, didn't it serve as your responsibility to heal Itachi San of his illness rather than using him for DNA research? Kisame questioned in jest. That's incorrect. No, I didn't. Kabuto, calm down. Kisame enjoys cracking jokes. You performed exceptionally well. You're not in need of an apology. Itachi finished zipping up his cloak and turned to face his servant. Thank you, Itachi. Sama. In an effort to avoid making the same mistake twice, Kabuto decided to keep the conversation brief and straightforward going forward. Tell me, do you know where Naruto-kun is located? And how is Orochimaru's search for my naive younger brother going? Itachi inquired with curiosity. Very poor. Every shinobi sent after Sasuke has been slain by him. He recently even took the lives of Orochimaru's esteemed students and expert curse seal users, Dosu and Tsuchikin. Orochimaru. Sama would say he is furious, to put it mildly. Regarding Naruto-kun, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure where he is. Kabuto apologized profusely. I see. Regarding Naruto-kun, that is unfortunate news, but Sasuke seems to be progressing nicely. Has the Mangekyo Sharingan been roused by him yet? Itachi inquired with curiosity. He hasn't. Sasuke has neither allies nor friends. He works by himself. I believe that Orochimaru Sama will personally take over the Uchiha Sasuke hunt very soon. Not too long ago, he sent a squad of 400 Chunin and Jonin to pursue him. Without a doubt, Sasuke will face Orochimaru Sama directly if this attack fails. Kabuto diligently filed a report. Itachi seemed to have nothing more to say than, Concerned about your little brother, Itachi-san? With a hint of humor and a hint of menace, Kisame posed the question. I am clearly interested in his development because he has my extra pair of eyes. My plans would be affected if Orochimaru managed to get his hands on him. That being said, his eyes wouldn't be worth much if his ocular abilities are so poor that he would fall short against Orochimaru. Itachi gave a matter of fact response. HN. Does that imply that you won't meddle in his predestined conflict with Orochimaru then? Kisame chuckled. That is accurate. Don't worry, Kisame. My brother is an Avenger and Uchiha, so he won't pass away just yet. Itachi shot back. Hee. Itachi. Sama, if there's nothing else, I'd like to go back to Orochimaru Sama's sighed. He'll soon grow suspicious because I haven't been around for a while. Kabuto questioned obediently. Very well, Kabuto, it looks like you're almost there. Thank you once more for your assistance. Itachi uttered sincere words. Hi, Itachi. Sama. Kabuto said as he used a shunshin technique to vanish. I believe you mentioned that he was under your genjutsu. Why did he behave in a way that was not within the bounds of your jutsu? Kisame inquired with curiosity. That is not quite how Kodo Amatsu Kami works. I gave the jutsu the directive to turn Kabuto into my sole and undivided loyal subject. But his personality hasn't changed. He is still the same individual. Since Kodo Amatsu Kami doesn't alter who you are, after I asked him to heal me, Kabuto, the obedient and committed servant that he is meant to be, went above and beyond to make sure I never fell ill again, which he accomplished by inserting Hashirama's DNA into me. Itachi clarified. I see. But one thing has been bothering me. Why didn't you use your powerful genjutsu to take over the organization if you had it available to you all along? Heck, why didn't you use it to oust the Uchiha clan and conquer Konoha? Kisame inquired with curiosity. Once this jutsu is used, it cannot be used for 10 years. You see, I had to use the jutsu very carefully, and since I was supposed to die from my illness anyway, I had made plans to destroy the eye and the crow after I used it. Itachi clarified. On whom did you originally intend to use it? And after using the eye, why didn't you destroy it? Kisame inquired once more. Does he still think poorly of me? He seems to be asking a lot of questions. The Uchiha clan's genius pondered. Contrary to what you may believe, I did not intend to use it on you. I meant to use it on my naive younger brother. I was going to use it on him right before I died, since I was going to die anyhow, to make him do what I wanted. He's already halfway there. He seeks power at all costs and is driven solely by hatred and retaliation. Kodo Amatsu Kami, right before my death, would have been the last nail in the coffin. But now that Uzumaki Naruto Kun has become my even more deserving opponent, I've also discovered a means to heal myself. I no longer need Sasuke to carry out my will because I no longer need to die. I'll just beat him now and take his eyes, and maybe, just maybe, I'll leave my eyes behind for him as well. I guess having two rivals is preferable to having one. Itachi clarified, pausing briefly to make sure Kisame had absorbed the knowledge. Regarding your other query. Fortunately, I don't have to wait 10 years to use the eye for another jutsu. Once more, please don't panic. Neither you nor anyone else in the organization is the intended target. Itachi spoke in a soothing voice. Yes, in fact. Izanami can still be cast by me using Shishui's eye. Which character, Madara, Sasuke, or Naruto? Kun. Should I use it on? Itachi pondered profoundly. I see. HN. You, Itachi. San, add so much intrigue to life that it never should be. I'm appreciative that Akatsuki put me in contact with you. Kisame grinned toothily and said. I'm also glad I was partnered with you, Kisame. Senpai. Itachi answered.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.